Survival for all. I start by building a mecha and piloting a Gundam. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451. The innate divine artifact lost its spirit. The harvest was huge. Most importantly, the nearly 100 angels and elves present were shining with the golden light of promotion, especially those at the peak of level 21. They were all covered by the golden light of promotion, which showed that they had broken through level 21 with the help of huge experience and started the road to promotion to demigod. As Tang Xiaofan expected, it didn't take long for the divine fire to burn on the bodies of the angels and elves. As long as the golden light dissipated and the divine fire entered their bodies, they would all be promoted to demigods. As for failure, as long as the growth potential of the castle troops was reached, the promotion would not fail. In other words, Tang Xiaofan would have nearly 100 demigod level angels and elves under his command soon. Such a promotion speed is terrifying. In addition to these level 21 angels and elves, there are also 4 demigod level angels covered by the golden light of promotion. They are also covered by the brilliant golden light. In the process of the Golden Sands Beast God Bork, the 4 of them contributed the most, so they gained the most experience, which enabled them to break through the late stage of demigod and be promoted to the peak of demigod. And their road to promotion has not ended yet, and they are still continuing to climb up the next realm of true gods. Tang Xiaofan can sense that the 4 angels under his command are already condensing the godhood. I believe that it won't be long before they will become gods together. This is another good news. The only thing that makes Tang Xiaofan feel regretful is that other kingdom demigods, such as the great elf Alita, the 12-winged angel Angelica, the 12-seat angel Irene, the guardian angel Maya, etc., did not become gods directly. They all stopped at the peak of demigods, which made Tang Xiaofan a little disappointed. After all, if they also promoted to the god level, the number of true gods under his command would directly exceed 10. It is conceivable how horrible that would be. Unfortunately, the experience given by the Beast God Bork is still too little, and it is not enough to help them to be promoted to the god level. In general, as the Beast God Bork at the peak of the lower true god, he can help more than 80 angel elves at the peak of level 21 to be promoted to demigods. He helped Cadiz, Cheryl, Nina, and Dale to be promoted to gods. It is already very good, so don't be greedy. At worst, next time you meet a god like the Beast God Bork, you can use the same method to help Erica, Angelica, and the guardian angel Maya to be promoted to true gods. They have now reached the peak of demigods. It is only one step away from being promoted to true gods. It is highly likely that they can break through directly by killing a slightly weaker true god. Now that the belief system has returned to the god and demon continent, it seems that hunting gods is not a very difficult thing. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan's mood also became very happy. After tonight, there will be 7 gods under his command, and he will be 8. In addition, there are more than 80 demigod level angels and elves. What else is he not satisfied with? No, not only 7 artifacts, I have a full 1000 adult angels being nurtured. Calculating the time, they will soon arrive. Tang Xiaofan suddenly remembered his adult angels, who were still nurtured in the farmer's factory. This seems to be the most important thing. Once they are nurtured, the power of his kingdom will become more terrifying. The number of true gods will definitely be close to 20. There may even be more. As for the demigods, all added up will directly exceed 1000, because the weakest 2-winged adult angels are all demigods, and the 6-winged adult angels and 8-winged adult angels that are nurtured will directly step into the level of true gods. This is the best news today. He is happier than killing the Beast God Bork. Then, Tang Xiaofan checked the other gains from killing the Beast God Bork and gained 10 points of divine power. Adding up, I now have a divine power of 188 points, which is not bad. In addition, I also got a godhead fragment, and 2 artifacts. Why is there an extra godhead fragment? Tang Xiaofan wondered what the divine power that was released was, thinking it came from the Beast God Bork. Where did the other fragments of the divine power come from? After thinking carefully for a moment, he suddenly realized it. Mr. Bear had told me before that there was a top castle lord in the Grassland Paradise Alliance who got a fragment of the divine power and contacted the beast god Bork through it. The extra fragment of the divine power that exploded should be the reward given to Bork by the Grassland Paradise Alliance. It exploded when the beast god Bork was killed. What an unexpected gain. Tang Xiaofan grinned and then cast his eyes on the two artifacts. One of them looked like a big black iron hammer, but it was so big that it was exaggerated, more than 3 meters long, which was quite consistent with the beast god Bork's body that was several meters tall. This was the beast god Bork's natal artifact. What a pity. Stark took out the Warhammer artifact and handed it to Tang Xiaofan. He said with some self-blame, in the previous battle, Bork's innate artifact was severely damaged by my quasi artifact. The spirituality was destroyed, and the power also dropped sharply. Tang Xiaofan immediately checked its information. The glory hammer of the pigs. Owner, the god of faith of the pigs in ancient times, the beast god Bork. Grade, the best lower level true artifact. Description, it is the innate artifact of the beast god Bork, made of rare extraterritorial metals in the power of faith of the pigs. And possesses a very terrifying divine power. Status, damaged, spirituality annihilated, divine power strength. 100 points. Special reminder 1. This artifact is in a severely damaged state, and its power has decreased by 50%. Special reminder 2. Equip this artifact, and you will gain hatred from the god of orcs. It's really a pity. Tang Xiaofan shook his head. As for whether he would be hated by other gods of the orcs, he didn't care. He cared about the value of the artifact. Its power dropped by half, and its value also plummeted accordingly, unless he could find an artifact equipment maker to repair it to its complete state. But even so, its value is not as good as before, because his spirituality is annihilated, and it needs to use divine power to cultivate a new artifact spirit, so that its power can be restored to its heyday. From here, we can see how terrifying Stark's power is. He almost blew up the life artifact of the beast god Bork. Tang Xiaofan would never be able to do it. It can even be said that he is not the opponent of the beast god Bork. Even if he uses the King's Scepter, he can't beat the beast god Bork. After all, the beast god Bork is a real lower level peak true god. Tang Xiaofan can only use the King's Scepter to release a power comparable to that of a lower level peak true god. Stark, as a middle level god, can easily suppress the beast god Bork. Chapter 452, Discovering the Mysterious Token of the Gods. Then Tang Xiaofan waved his right hand, and another artifact fell into his hand. This was a green ring, not a defensive artifact, nor an offensive artifact, but a space artifact belonging to the category of space equipment. As a god of faith who has lived from the ancient war of gods to the present, it is reasonable for the beast god Balko to have a space artifact that can store things. God green ring. Rank. Lower true artifact low level. Description. It is an artifact made by the great elves of the ancient times. It has a very large storage space and can store a large number of items. It is in good condition. Divine power strength. None. Connotation space. 100,000 cubic meters. Special reminder, return this lost artifact to the natural elf empire in the central area of the god and demon continent, and you will get the friendship value of the natural elf clan. It turned out to be an artifact belonging to the natural elf clan. It should have been lost in ancient times and later obtained by the beast god Balko. However, it was impossible to return it. Tang Xiaofan was jealous of a space artifact. How could he return it to the natural elf empire? You know, the King's Ring, the top grade holy artifact made by the elf equipment master Aeater, which he was wearing on his fingertips, only had 500 cubic meters of space, while this space artifact had 100,000 cubic meters of storage space, a full 200 times difference in size. For him, it was a rare treasure. Tang Xiaofan did not hesitate, and directly released his divine thoughts, and pierced into the magical green ring. With a faint scream, the divine thoughts of the beast god Bork, attached to the artifact, were forcibly annihilated by him, and then he merged his divine thoughts with the artifact, and ripped a drop of blood, to complete the recognition of the master. Seeing what was inside, Tang Xiaofan was still very much looking forward to the material reserves of a true god. With a thought, his consciousness appeared in the inner space of the green ring. He was soon disappointed because the beast god Bork, as a true god at the peak of the lower level, was incredibly poor. In the green ring, there were a lot of items piled up, including tens of thousands of equipment, but all of them were decayed. It should be, because it had gone through too long, causing the loss of magic power. The runes collapsed and turned into a pile of rubbish. There were also hundreds of thousands of gems. Those were not ordinary gems, but rare magic gems. They could be inlaid on equipment, like soul stones to enhance the power of equipment, but these gems also lost their magic power and turned into useless crystals. Tang Xiaofan grabbed them with his divine consciousness, and they even turned into ashes directly. Sure enough, magic gems could not withstand the erosion of time. In addition, there were a large number of potions, magic scrolls, magic potions, etc., all of which had deteriorated under the invasion of time and could not be used. After all, he was a believer in gods, but he was so poor. Tang Xiaofan couldn't help but complain with some disdain. He still had dozens of divine power crystals. However, Bork, the beast god at the peak of the lower true god, not only had no divine power crystals, but even his reserves were all a pile of rags. It really disappointed him. Stark on the side was speechless. It was strange that a true god was so poor. It was probably because Bork was severely injured in the ancient war of gods and only woke up recently, which led to his poverty. Tang Xiaofan's mouth twitched slightly and said, "This guy just claimed to me that they believed in the gods, conquered the outside world, and occupied countless resource planes and life planets. It seems that all of this was done by others." At this time, Tang Xiaofan found a jade box in a corner of the green ring. When he opened the jade box, he found a golden token. There was an ancient text engraved on the front and back of the golden token. He couldn't recognize it. With a thought, he took out the golden token and played with it in his hand. But Tang Xiaofan found that neither divine thoughts nor divine power were useful to it. It really looked like an ordinary iron object. Tang Xiaofan handed the golden token to Stark and asked, "Do you recognize the words on it?" Stark took the token, looked at it carefully, and then nodded and said, "My lord, this is the writing of the ancient titans. I have seen it in the virtual world. It means gods." Gods? Tang Xiaofan was a little surprised, because the token that looked ordinary was engraved with the word gods, which was a bit exaggerated. Stark carefully examined the order of the gods and continued, "There is nothing strange about it. The metal used to make this token is very rare. It is an extremely rare divine metal." Divine metal, yes, it can be used to make artifacts. In that case, Tang Xiaofan thought for a while and said, "This should be its special place. It is unreasonable for ordinary tokens to be made of magical metals. After the transformation of the soul of the beast god Bork is completed, I will ask him about the origin and use of the order of the gods." Intuition told Tang Xiaofan that this token was not an ordinary thing. Stark nodded and handed the token back to Tang Xiaofan. Then he spread his right hand, and two crystals emitting extremely strong divine power appeared in his palm. One was a fragment of the godhead, and the other was the complete godhead from the beast god Bork. Stark looked at the complete one and said deeply, "Bork is a little poor, but in his godhead, he has stored hundreds of thousands of drops of divine power. He should have used all the crystals of divine power, refined them into divine power, and stored them. Hundreds of thousands of drops of divine power." Tang Xiaofan asked in surprise, "Why does he store so much divine power?" As a lower level peak true god, Bork's divine power strength is 100 points, which means that the release of the strongest power by the beast god Bork will only consume 100 drops of divine power. As for ordinary battles, it does not consume too much divine power at all. However, in his godhead, hundreds of thousands of drops of divine power are stored. Isn't this a bit exaggerated? Stark said, "These divine powers should be prepared by the beast god Bork for the promotion to the middle god. In the process of promotion to the godhood, a large amount of divine power will be consumed." Tang Xiaofan suddenly realized that it seemed that the beast god Bork was not far from becoming a middle god. As a result, due to a moment of greed, it fell into the hands of his angels and elves. Of course, it was not completely fallen. Tang Xiaofan was still preparing to resurrect it. Tang Xiaofan said to Stark, "Take the godhead and its fragments to ascend to godhood. Now that the god of faith has returned to the gods and demons continent, there's no guarantee that one day a more powerful god of faith will descend upon our black technology heaven. You must improve your strength. When you step into the level of main god, I won't have to worry about you. Yes, my almighty lord." Chapter 453. The bosses of the Grassland Alliance are all dead. Stark said respectfully, "My lord, rest assured, Stark will recover to the peak of the Lord God as quickly as possible, help you rule the God and Demon continent, and grab the throne of the God King." Tang Xiaofan nodded. With hundreds of thousands of drops of divine power and a fragment of divine power, Tang Xiaofan believed that Stark's position as a god would be able to rise rapidly. The reason is very simple. As a castle soldier, Stark does not need to comprehend the law of divine power and break through the shackles of the realm. As long as the refined divine power is enough, he can quickly ascend to the position of god. This is the biggest advantage of the castle soldiers, especially after entering the realm of gods. The advantage of the castle soldiers will become more obvious. At this time, Tang Xiaofan suddenly cast his eyes to the king's capital in the distance. At this moment, he felt a powerful divine power appearing in his king's capital. "Finally bred, my 1000 adult angels." Tang Xiaofan laughed, feeling more joyful. Then his figure flashed, and he teleported directly back to the core area of the king's capital. Tang Xiaofan really didn't know, because his killing of the beast god Bork had caused chaos in the entire castle. All the castle lords and wanderers knew about the death of the beast god Bork, but this news did not come from the top castle lords killed by Tang Xiaofan. After all, they were only concerned with escaping and begging for mercy, so they had no time to pass on the news to other castle lords. The reason why the castle forces knew about it was very simple, that is, the regional announcement appeared. Although the game officials did not give a world announcement, the regional announcement was not absent. In just a moment, hundreds of castle lords in the Karami Prairie all learned about Tang Xiaofan's killing of the beast god Bork, which indirectly shook the entire Castle Force World chat channel. "I didn't see it wrong. Tang Xiaofan killed the god. It doesn't matter if you saw it wrong. The hundreds of castle lords in the prairie would not have seen it wrong. Everyone received the regional announcement that Tang Xiaofan killed the beast god Bork. It's unbelievable. I thought that when the ancient belief in the true god came, only the black technology heaven would be destroyed, and Tang Xiaofan would also be killed. I didn't expect that the one who died was the one who believed in the beast god. Beast god Bork, a true god at the peak of the lower level, is actually dead like this? I suspect he is a fake god. This is incredible. Not only did the beast god Bork fall, but the 5 bosses of the Prairie Paradise Alliance also died directly. They followed the beast god Bork to the black technology heaven of boss Tang Xiaofan, hoping to take advantage of it, but they were wiped out by boss Tang Xiaofan. Classic pentakill. That's great now. Grassland Paradise is leaderless and doomed. All 5 bosses are dead. They asked for it. Didn't boss Tang Xiaofan just become a god? Where did he get the strength to kill the beast god Bork? You know, Bork is a true god at the lower peak. It can only be said that the god Bork is a false god. Fake gods are impossible. I suspect there are 2 reasons. The first is that the king artifact that the game officials rewarded to boss Tang Xiaofan was so powerful that it killed the beast god Bork. The second is that boss Tang Xiaofan has a mid-level god under his command. Because of the god level suppression, the beast god Bork was killed. Maybe it's possible. I don't know how to evaluate boss Tang Xiaofan's demonic ability. It feels like there is more than one. How strange. I have the same feeling. Don't be funny. There is indeed more than one god level demon under Tang Xiaofan's command, and far more. The Angel of Destiny Claire has become a god. Hades, Shirley, Nina, and the Angel of Death Dale are about to become gods. In addition, Tang Xiaofan's 1000 complete angels have also been bred, including a large number of 6-winged angels, 8-winged angels, and 10-winged angels. They are all true gods. If this matter is spread to the world chat channel, it will definitely make all the castle lords and wanderers crazy and completely explode. Compared with the lively world chat channel, the internal situation of the Grassland Paradise Alliance and other alliances is bleak. After learning that the beast god Bork was killed by Tang Xiaofan, the top castle lords and ordinary castle lords in the alliance were all dumbfounded. Just a few minutes ago, they were still imagining how they would develop their own castle forces and expand the strength of the alliance after Tang Xiaofan died and the Black Technology Kingdom was destroyed. They even imagined the scene of competing for the throne of the King of Gods in the future. As a result, in the blink of an eye, it was not Tang Xiaofan who died, but the beast god Bork. Suddenly, all the members of the alliance were stunned, full of disbelief. The beast god Bork, a god of faith with the peak position of the lower true god, has experienced the god war in ancient times and lived for a long time. As a result, the mission was not successful and the mission was directly defeated. For them, such a result was like a joke to them. A believer in the beast god actually died so cleanly and neatly. It was simply a joke. At the same time, this also made them feel incredible, even scalp numb and terrified. Especially the hundreds of alliance members of the Grassland Paradise Alliance. All of them were terrified. Woshi, the old pig god is dead. I was just saying that the old pig god would definitely destroy the Black Technology Kingdom if he took action. But when I turned around, the regional announcement came that the old pig god was killed by Tang Xiaofan. I can't believe this is true. My god, how strong is Tang Xiaofan's Black Technology Kingdom? A lower level peak true god couldn't destroy it, but instead lost his life. In Tang Xiaofan's hands, he must have a power that surpasses the peak of the lower level true god. You are talking nonsense. If there is no such power, the old pig god will not die. By the way, do you speculate that it was Tang Xiaofan who killed the old pig, or the demons and angels under his command? It's most likely a demon under Tang Xiaofan. He has just been promoted to the realm of true god, and his strength is definitely not as good as the old pig god. So I suspect that he must have a very powerful demon, angel, or elf under his command, who is stronger than the pig god. Then how high must his rank be? Don't be a pig, you disappoint me. This time, not only did the beast god Bork die, but the 5 bosses of our alliance also died without a trace, with heavy losses. Laolin, Laokin, Laochen, what a pity. They wanted to follow and take advantage of the situation and occupy Tang Xiaofan's kingdom supplies, but ended up hurting themselves. The most important thing is that now our Grassland Paradise Alliance has become a joke of the entire castle power. Look at what those people say on the chat channel. It's really infuriating. It's no wonder people mocked us. We were so confident in boasting about how powerful that pig was and how it would definitely destroy the Black Technology Heaven. But in the end, he was completely useless, just like the millions of troops of the Alliance of Gods before. They just gave Tang Xiaofan their heads. Chapter 454, Strategic Retreat later. As a pig god, Bork must have artifacts. Now that he is dead, those artifacts will surely fall into Tang Xiaofan's hands, making Tang Xiaofan's strength even more terrifying. Don't forget that our castle lord is experienced in killing enemies. After killing the old pig god, Tang Xiaofan will most likely be promoted to the position of god again, and his strength will increase again. This head is worthless. Not only did it not cause heavy losses to the Black Technology Kingdom, but it made Tang Xiaofan stronger. Where can I go to seek justice? A very critical question. What should we do now? The members of the Grassland Paradise Alliance were silent. This question is indeed very critical and concerns their lives. Now that the beast god Bork is dead, the 5 alliance bosses who followed to watch the fun and took advantage of the situation were collectively wiped out and were killed by Tang Xiaofan in a classic way. Their Grassland Paradise Alliance can now be said to be leaderless. Many alliance members don't know what to do and are panicking. At this time, they can be said to have no trump cards. Once Tang Xiaofan's kingdom army continues to move forward, they will definitely be in trouble. What else can we do? A member of the alliance said, if it were you, I would just run away and take the castle heart to other areas. Anyway, we can't stay in the Karami Prairie anymore. Not to mention the strength of our alliance. Even if the entire Karami Prairie and all the castle lords united, they would not be the opponent of the Black Technology Heaven. The gods of the Black Technology Heaven can slap us to death with one slap. If we don't leave, we will die. Of course, we can surrender. If anyone wants to join Tang Xiaofan and become a subsidiary force of the Black Technology Heaven, they should hand in their troops and supplies every day. Just ignore what I said. Surrender. Why should I hand over the troops I worked so hard to recruit and the supplies I hunted to the Black Technology Heaven? I won't surrender. No matter what you say. I won't surrender either. Not all castle lords are willing to become subsidiaries of other forces. The reason is simple. Once they become subsidiaries, they cannot betray, otherwise they will be wiped out. This is the official restriction of the game on subsidiary forces. As castle lords, how could they be willing to be restricted in this way? Those castle lords who don't want to fight for hegemony are only a minority. The vast majority of castle lords still fantasize about grabbing the throne of the God King and becoming the supreme god one day. So who would be willing to surrender to others? Except for those castle lords who only think about farming, most other castle lords are unwilling to bow their heads to the Black Technology Heaven. They also fantasize about replacing the Black Technology Heaven one day and becoming the most powerful force in the castle camp to dominate all races. Without further ado, I'm already packing up the supplies in my castle, preparing to flee the Karami Prairie. The million-strong army of the Black Technology Kingdom is unstoppable on the Terami Prairie. If we don't evacuate, we will only have two choices, death or surrender. Fuck, I'm retreating. Sorry, I'm already on my way out. Wait a minute, maybe there's still hope. The beast god Bork is dead, how can we have any hope? I'm not referring to us, but to the local forces on the grassland. Although those local forces are pursuing the truth and no longer believe in the ancient gods, they still have various connections with the ancient gods. Now all the gods have returned to the continent of gods and demons. I see. What you mean is that once the kingdom army of the Black Technology Kingdom attacks the dynasty forces on the grassland, it is very likely to encounter the hatred of some of the ancient gods? That's right. Just look at the beast god Bork. He used to be the god of faith of the pig people. Now that he has returned, he will most likely protect the pig people. The same goes for the gods of faith of other races. After all, they are from the same race, so how could those gods of faith be indifferent to their own descendants, being wantonly slaughtered by the army of the Black Technology Kingdom? I believe that once the Black Technology Kingdom attacks those dynasty level local forces, some gods of faith will definitely not be able to help, but take action against the Black Technology Kingdom. Brother, your analysis is good, but then again, what does this have to do with our grassland paradise alliance? Can we, the hundreds of castle lords, just wait for the army of the Black Technology Kingdom to step on the landmine? Brothers, believe me, before the army of the Black Technology Kingdom encounters the landmine, most of the castle lords among us will be killed by the Black Technology Kingdom, so we have to escape. That's right, at worst we can wait for the Black Technology Kingdom to perish, and then come back. That makes sense. Retreat. After the tone was set, the castle lords of the Grassland Heaven Alliance began to evacuate the Karami Prairie. They wanted to leave this troubled place under the cover of night. Only a small number of castle lords chose to stay. Some of them were lucky, while others did not want to escape at all. They just waited for the Black Technology Heaven to kill the army and then surrender. In short, the vast Karami Prairie was very lively at night. Looking down from the sky, you can see castle lords moving and evacuating like ants everywhere. Their figures are scattered all over the prairie, and not just the prairie. Members of the Heaven Alliance and other castle lords on the prairie also evacuated quickly after learning that the beast god Bork was killed. According to incomplete statistics, there were hundreds of castle lords evacuating the Karami Prairie that night, which can be called the largest evacuation operation in the history of the castle forces. The northern plateau of the Karami Prairie is an endless snow-capped mountain. At this moment, a towering temple fell from the void. With a rumbling sound, the temple directly smashed on the top of the largest mountain and sat majestically. Not long after, figures flew from the distant sky and gathered in the temple. Some of these figures were tens of meters tall, covered with golden hair, and were the golden behemoths of the beast tribe. Some had a pair of snow-white wings on their backs, and were swans in the beast tribe. Some had human bodies and lion heads, and were golden lions in the beast tribe. Some had human bodies and wolf heads, and were werewolves in the beast tribe. There were also beautiful butterfly people, fierce tiger-headed people, and thin fox people. There were about dozens of figures entering the temple. From the outside, they all came from the beast tribe without exception. The most important thing was that they all exuded a powerful divine power. It was obvious that they were all gods, and they all believed in the beast gods who survived from ancient times. At this time, the master of the temple came, a woman. She was wearing a golden long dress, with divine patterns all over her body, and she looked terrifyingly majestic. Chapter 455 Summoning 30 True God Level Angels. Her face and figure were both breathtakingly beautiful. But what was surprising was that under her golden skirt, there was a long snake tail. The most terrifying thing was that the hair on her head was all small golden snakes. The snake hair was winding and moving, revealing its tongue and making a hissing sound. It made people feel creepy, and she was a legendary goddess Medusa. Goddess Medusa leaned on the throne of the temple. Under her golden skirt was a perfect figure. Under the gaze of her golden pupils, the beast gods of faith in the hall lowered their heads to show their respect. Goddess Medusa glanced at the hall. Compared with the past, there were many fewer gods in the temple today. However, she didn't care. Goddess Medusa said, "It is a good thing that the faith god system has returned to the god and demon continent, but everyone should not forget our purpose. Recently, everyone should behave themselves and not conflict with the magic of the truth god system." Her voice was very calm, but it was filled with extreme charm, and there was also an indescribable terrifying pressure, which made the beast gods in the hall dare not neglect, and agreed one after another. Although Goddess Medusa was not the god of faith of their beast tribe, she possessed terrifying divine power and had saved them in the ancient war of gods, so they were willing to take Goddess Medusa as their leader, at least on the surface. Their belief in the beast god would not violate Goddess Medusa. At this moment, a sturdy beast god with a human body and a tiger head said, "Your Majesty, Bork has fallen." Bork. Goddess Medusa cast her eyes lightly and said, "That ugly pig?" The beast god of the tiger people twitched his face slightly, and then nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty, it was that ugly pig. It fell not long after it descended on the continent of gods and demons." Goddess Medusa asked lazily, "Then who killed her?" "The gods of the god of truth." The beast god of the tiger people shook his head and said, "Your Majesty, I went to the place where Bork fell, which is located in the east of the Kareli Prairie. What surprised me is that there is a capital belonging to the lord of a castle from another world, and in that capital there are a large number of gods auras. The most powerful of them has reached the peak of middle-level god. If nothing unexpected happens, the murderer who killed Bork is from that capital." Hearing his words, the beast gods in the hall looked at each other and talked a lot. The one who killed Bork was the lord of the castle? Those castle lords from other worlds have only been in the continent of gods and demons for a month. How could such a powerful castle lord appear? There are so many gods, the highest of which is the peak of the middle-level gods. The development speed of this castle lord is so fast that it is unimaginable. I find it hard to believe this is true. The beast gods of faith present felt incredible. At this time, the golden behemoth beast god in the hall looked at the tiger beast god of faith with some sarcasm and sneered, "Gabriel, you are an upper god after all. Are you scared away by a mere castle lord?" The tiger god Gabriel snorted coldly and ignored the golden behemoth beast god. Then he said to the goddess Medusa, "Your Majesty, I intend to avenge Bork and destroy the castle power, but due to the agreement of the gods, I chose to give in. However, the most important thing is that I sensed the aura of Her Majesty in Astora and Isabel in that kingdom. This is the fundamental reason why I stayed away from the castle lord. Goddess Medusa finally showed a look of surprise in her lazy and beautiful expression. Astora, the goddess of fate in the faith system. Isabel, the goddess of elves in the faith system. These two goddesses are extremely powerful and ancient gods in the faith system, even older than the years she has experienced. When she saw the goddess of elves and the goddess of fate, she had to call them sister. Such two powerful and ancient goddesses unexpectedly left their aura in the kingdom of the castle lord, which was enough to attract her attention. "You should give in," said Goddess Medusa lightly. The gods agreed that all gods of faith shall not wantonly slaughter castle forces, because they can help our faith system fight against the truth system. You should not cross the line. As for the cause of Bork's death, I will investigate it myself. Yes, your majesty. The beast gods of faith in the hall saluted respectfully. However, they knew very well that goddess Medusa didn't care about the life or death of a pig. She wanted to find out what was hidden in the castle power. Why did it attract the attention of two ancient goddesses? Soon the gods withdrew and left one after another, and the light of the temple gradually dimmed. Goddess Medusa was silent for a long time, and then she transformed into a beautiful woman in a purple dress. Without hesitation, she tore open the space and left the temple. Black technology heaven, the royal capital. The light of the farmer's factory has disappeared, and the surging sacred energy has returned to a calm state. Because Tang Xiaofan's 1000 adult angels have all been bred. At this moment, they are gathering into the camp of the angel army, and they appear in front of Tang Xiaofan in an orderly manner. Almighty Lord, may the holy light always be there, and may you be eternal. 1000 adult angels saluted Tang Xiaofan in unison. Their eyes were fanatical, and they had the most firm belief in Tang Xiaofan. As angels, they were believers at the Holy Spirit level when they were born. Their level of belief was unmatched by any other believers under Tang Xiaofan, not even the farmers. Natural elves, light soldiers and other native soldiers could not compare to them. The level of belief of the angels was the one that contributed the most divine power to Tang Xiaofan's soldiers. That's right. Tang Xiaofan smiled brightly at this time. Because the 1000 angels are all adult angels, entering the complete form. The most important thing is that there is a 12-winged angel, 3 10-winged angels, 7 8-winged angels, and 19 6-winged angels. The remaining 900 or so angels are all at the 4-wing and double-wing level. The complete form of an adult angel, double-winged, a demigod with 4 wings is the peak of a demigod, a 6-winged lower true god, an 8-winged lower true god at the peak, a 10-winged middle true god, and a 12-winged middle true god at the peak. In other words, just from this breeding, he got more than 900 demigod level angels, 19 6-winged angels in the early stage of lower true gods, 7 8-winged angels at the peak of lower true gods, 3 10-winged angels in the early stage of middle gods, and 1 12-winged angel at the peak of middle gods, a total of 30 true god angels. Chapter 456, the 4 middle level angel Austin sisters. With just this one wave of breeding, his black technology heavenly kingdom's strength has increased by more than 10 times. He got 30 true god angels at one time, which is worthy of being a level 9 farmer factory. It is worthwhile that I consumed nearly 300 divine power crystals to breed them into the complete state of adult angels. Even Tang Xiaofan was shocked at this moment. He got 30 true god level angels at one time. Even if it was transmitted to the world chat channel, which Castle Lord and Wanderer would dare to believe it? This wave of breeding is simply invincible. Among the thousands of adult angels, there are also several angels of love, guardian angels, and peace angels, a total of 5. The appearance of 5 special angels gave Tang Xiaofan a surprise, because the ability of special angels is stronger than that of angels of orthodox factions, and they are very rare, and they need good luck to breed them. The most important thing is that the number of wings of special angels is at least 6 wings. And adult angels with 6 wings have entered the level of true gods. In other words, the 5 special angels bred by Tang Xiaofan this time are all magical angels. Their appearance is enough to greatly enhance the strength of the angel army. So for Tang Xiaofan, this is a big surprise. Unfortunately, this time, the zodiac angels still failed to be bred. Until now, Tang Xiaofan's zodiac god favored person is still only Estella. Now, after the siege of the beast god Bork, Estella has also been promoted to the demigod level as she wished, and she is in the middle stage of demigod, and her strength has been greatly improved. In addition, the creation angel that Tang Xiaofan has been thinking about did not appear, which made him a little disappointed, because the creation angel and the destiny angel will combine to enable his kingdom to have the ability to build the angel reincarnation pool of the arms building on its own. Unfortunately, he now has the destiny angel, but not the creation angel. The construction of the angel reincarnation pool has to be delayed again. But in the end, this wave of Ryman Tang Xiaofan's gains are still very great. After all, no matter what, he also got 970 demigod level angels and a full 30 true god level angels at one time. The price he consumed was only a few dozen crystals of divine power. What else could he not be satisfied with? Tang Xiaofan waved his hand, and the newly bred 12-winged angel and 3 10-winged angels immediately came over respectfully. Almighty Lord, the 4 beautiful angels saluted Tang Xiaofan respectfully. They all exuded powerful divine power, because their divine positions had actually entered the level of middle gods. Especially the 12-winged angel, whose divine position was as high as the peak of middle gods, and the divine power he exuded was even stronger than that of his Stark. Of course, this is normal, because this 12-winged angel is an adult angel, and is already a complete body. Before she achieved blood evolution, and had more wings, the peak of middle gods was her limit. As for Stark, although he is already a middle god, his growth state is still in the early stage, and his growth potential limit is as high as the peak level of the main god. In the future, he is destined to become the most powerful divine messenger under Tang Xiaofan, and it is basically impossible for any other angel to surpass him. Tang Xiaofan then checked the information of the 4 angels. 12-winged angel, current growth status, complete, strength level, peak of middle god loyalty. 100, die hard. 10-winged main angel, current growth status, complete, strength level, early middle god loyalty. 100, die hard. 10-winged power angel, current growth status, complete, strength level, early middle god loyalty. 100, die hard. The last 10-winged angel is also a 10-winged power angel, whose strength level has reached the early middle god. Not bad. Tang Xiaofan smiled brightly. He now has more than 30 true god level angels under his command, 5 of whom have reached the middle god level, and the others are lower god level. In addition, the demigod level angels and elves under his command add up to more than 1,000. It can be said that the current black technology heaven is very powerful, enough to suppress the entire castle force. Even if there are more gods of faith attacking, he is not afraid. After all, in addition to more than 30 true gods and elves, he also has the Farmer clan's war fortress, the Sky City. Although he rarely uses the Sky City, it is entirely because the enemies killed by the Sky City are inexperienced. If the strongest war power of the Sky City really erupts, then even if there are upper gods coming to kill him, they will die in front of him. Tang Xiaofan has absolute confidence in this, because he knows what the strongest attack method of the Sky City is, and this killer is only in his hands. Even Stark does not have the authority to activate it. So far, the castle lords of the castle forces only know that the Sky City has a large number of magic cannons, which are extremely powerful and can kill ordinary true gods. But they don't know that the Sky City also hides the strongest attack method, similar to the main gun of an interstellar battleship, which can kill more powerful enemies with one blow. Because this move consumes too much energy, it will instantly drain all the energy of the Sky City. In addition, Tang Xiaofan has not met an enemy worthy of activating the strongest attack method of the Sky City, so he has not used this move until now. Then, Tang Xiaofan still has the Terminator mushroom in his hand. This thing doesn't matter what god you are. As long as it is a carbon-based creature, it will basically be finished, if it is it. Looking at the 4 beautiful angels in front of him, Tang Xiaofan thought for a moment, and named them respectively. The 12-winged angel was named Austin Tiffany, the 10-winged main angel was named Austin Natalie, and the other 2 10-winged angels were named Austin Dana and Austin Nancy. These 4 beautiful upper angels were combined by Tang Xiaofan, and called the Austin 4 Sisters. Compared with the 3 sisters of the Halen angel under Tang Xiaofan, Winnie, Vida and Agatha, the Austin 4 sisters are much more powerful. After all, they are all middle-level gods. However, in terms of growth potential, the 3 sisters of Halen angel are not much behind, because they are all 10-winged angels, but because they were born in the state of Holy Spirit, they need to grow step by step, so naturally, their strength is not as strong as the 4 sisters of Austin who are directly in the complete form. Praise you, the Almighty Lord. The 4 sisters of Austin were extremely excited. It was the highest honor for them to be named by the Lord. Chapter 457, The Spoils of War. After the 2 million troops swept through. At this time, Stark came over and saw him. The 4 Austin sisters also saluted respectfully and said, "Respected His Majesty Stark, the Lord's letter Austin Tiffany, Natalie, Nancy, Dinah, sends you greetings." Although the four sisters are all middle level gods, Tiffany is at the peak level of middle level gods, and her godhood is several small realms higher than Stark, but Stark is the future peak god of the black technology heaven. So when facing Stark, they must pay great respect. In the hearts of the angels, Stark can be said to be the spokesperson of the Lord and the highest manager of the farmer's god world. Well, Stark nodded slightly at them, and then said to Tang Xiaofan, "My lord, in accordance with your oracle, I have ordered the various legions fighting outside to stay in place and rest. Tomorrow morning they will continue to attack other areas of the Karami Prairie and the Barlily Highlands." Seeing Tang Xiaofan nodded, Stark continued, "The various legions have sent back all the spoils they harvested today. I sent your angels and elves to count them. In addition," he took out a few azure blue drawings and handed them to Tang Xiaofan. "You need to take a look at these drawings." "Special drawings?" Tang Xiaofan said, and then took them over. "The drawings have been identified, and their information can be viewed directly." Soon, Tang Xiaofan's eyes lit up. There were 4 drawings in total, all of which were architectural drawings. Although they were not special types of drawings, Tang Xiaofan was indeed very excited. The reason was simple. Among the 4 drawings, 1 was a military building drawing, and 3 were castle drawings. Military building drawings are very rare drawings. From the advent of the gods and demons continent to now, the number of troop building blueprints that have been continuously exposed can be said to be few and far between. There are only 3 of them, namely the Skeleton Warrior troop building blueprints, the Monastery of Light, and the Dragon Island. This shows how low the explosion rate of troop building blueprints is. Now, the 4th troop building blueprint has been exposed by Tang Xiaofan. Army building blueprint, Dire Wolf Lair, faction, chaos, neutral, grade, advanced. Description: this is a troop building belonging to the Beastman camp, which can summon troop werewolf warriors, and has a low probability of summoning advanced troop types such as dire wolf cavalry. Construction requirements: 80,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 30,000 units of refined iron. Werewolf warriors are intermediate troop types, while dire wolf level soldiers are advanced troop types. Because of the appearance of dire wolf cavalry, this troop building blueprint is listed as advanced. But no matter what, its value is still amazing. But it is useless to me. Tang Xiaofan didn't think much about it, and directly put this advanced troop building blueprint on the trading channel for a 24-hour auction. This building, which could only recruit high-level soldiers at most, was not worth wasting resources on upgrading. After all, each of the 4 soldier buildings he owned could recruit top-level soldiers, even super top-level soldiers and god-level soldiers. In comparison, high-level soldiers were nothing at all. Even if they were placed in his 2 million kingdom armies, they were just cannon fodder. Naturally, he looked down on this blueprint. What's more, soldiers like the Beastmen belonged to the chaotic neutral camp, which did not match the light, goodness and lawful camp, where his kingdom was located. If the Beastmen were recruited on a large scale, it would inevitably cause chaos in the camp, which would not be good for his kingdom. So he had nothing to regret, and directly sold this soldier building blueprint, hoping to exchange it for a large number of soul stones from the hands of those top castle lords. Compared with the areas where he was located, because of his existence, the castle lords in these areas could not develop well. Some died, some fled, and some surrendered. Even if some castle lords had not encountered his army attack, they were also trembling with fear, so how could they have the heart to develop their castles? The castle lords in other regions around the world have developed very smoothly, especially those top castle lords. After such a long period of development, the castle resources must be rich. In addition, there are those middlemen in the castle forces. They are rich and good at doing business. They have already made a lot of money. Tang Xiaofan has long wanted to knock out a few middlemen, but due to the restrictions of the war zone, he has not knocked out any of them. There is no way. He can only exploit the wealth in their hands by selling items. The middlemen are also castle lords. They can't escape the law of the true fragrance of the military construction drawings. Once a middleman takes a fancy to his military construction drawings, he will raise the price to a very amazing level. After all, it is a high-level military construction drawing. The price should not disappoint me. Tang Xiaofan muttered to himself. Then he turned off the trading channel and looked at the remaining 3 drawings. The 3 drawings are the same, called castle drawings. Tang Xiaofan's power has developed to the present, and he has obtained more than 10,000 drawings, but this is the first time he has seen a castle drawing. Castle drawings, can it be used to build a castle? Tang Xiaofan thought of those wanderers who had lost their status as castle lords. If they had these castle blueprints, would the wanderers be able to rebuild their castles and become castle lords again? He immediately checked the information of these castle blueprints. Special building blueprint. Castle. Rank. None. Description. This is a castle building blueprint. You can use it to build an affiliated castle territory. Usage restriction. Limited to dynasty level castle forces. Construction requirements. 500,000 units of wood. 300,000 units of stone. 100,000 units of refined iron. Special reminder 1. Before the capital owned by the owner is destroyed, the affiliated castle can only be upgraded to a high level. Main city at most, and the second dynasty force cannot be established, based on the affiliated castle. It can only be used for the affiliated castle. Special reminder 2. The construction location of the affiliated castle cannot exceed the territory of the kingdom. Sure enough, it still didn't work. Tang Xiaofan shook his head. It was just a usage restriction that non-dynasty level castle forces could not use it. Using it was enough to destroy the hopes of all wanderers. After all, they didn't even have their own castles, so where did the dynasty level castle forces come from? Castle blueprints are specially prepared for castle lords who own kingdoms. Tang Xiaofan remembered that he had asked the game officials if he could see the branch city. The game officials answered directly that he could see the branch city as long as he had the relevant architectural drawings. I guess the relevant architectural drawings refer to the castle drawings in his hand. If it's not unexpected, the castle drawings should be exploded by destroying the enemy's castle. Of course, it doesn't matter how it explodes. As long as there is a chance of it exploding, it's a good thing. With these 3 castle drawings, I can build a branch city. At the same time, I can build a space teleportation magic circle in the branch city, and I can also directly teleport the army. And with the branch city as the center, continue to expand to the surrounding areas. In addition, the construction location of the branch city cannot exceed the territory of the kingdom. This is also reasonable. After all, how can the subsidiary cities of my own kingdom be built outside the territory of the kingdom? Chapter 458, Building a Sub-City to Prepare for the 10,000 Races Tournament. After upgrading to a high-level capital, the sphere of influence of my kingdom has grown to an area with a diameter of 10,000 kilometers, which is enough to occupy large areas of the Karami Prairie and the Baliri Highlands. Tang Xiaofan handed the 3 castle drawings in his hand to Stark. This is the castle drawing. With it, we can build the kingdom's branch cities. The construction is left to you. The 3 kingdom branch cities, 2 will be built in the Karami Prairie and 1 will be built in the Baliri Highlands. Bring some drawings of the space teleportation magic array and build the teleportation array as well. Yes, Lord Almighty. Stark nodded and took the drawings. Tang Xiaofan continued. Now we are already a dynasty level castle power. Our sphere of influence can no longer be expanded by upgrading castles as before. Now, any area captured by us belongs to the territory of our kingdom, so our war plan is very simple. We will use the kingdom's army to attack those local forces and castle forces and open up new kingdom territories. Then, we will use the exposed castle blueprints to continuously build branch cities. With the branch cities as the base points, the kingdom's army will advance all the way outward. Wherever the army advances, the kingdom's branch cities will be built. In this way, we will soon be able to conquer and rule the Karami Prairie and the Baliri Highlands. My lord is wise. Stark nodded immediately. The moment he received the castle blueprints, a similar war plan appeared in his mind at the same time. With branch cities and a large number of teleportation arrays, the kingdom's army fighting outside would not need to be stationed in the original place, let alone return to the royal capital. It could use the branch cities as strongholds to capture the surrounding areas at a faster speed. In addition, after the branch city is built, some of the ordinary believers such as goblins and dwarves in the capital can be moved there, and resources can be collected around the branch city. In this way, the Lord's kingdom will become stronger at a terrifying speed like a snowball. Then Tang Xiaofan roughly checked the other harvests. More than 1 billion units of wood, stone, refined iron and other materials were harvested. Most of them came from the castle forces captured by the kingdom's army, and a small part came from local forces. The remaining soulstones were more than 7 million, more than 2 million pieces of equipment of various grades, and more than 7,000 drawings. It can be said that the harvest was quite rich. With the help of Stark, Tang Xiaofan only took a short time to deal with all the spoils. What should be stored was stored, and what should be sold was sold. With Stark as an assistant, Tang Xiaofan is now very relaxed. It no longer takes a long time to deal with the spoils as before. Stark can be called his perfect butler. With him, even the whole kingdom has become well organized. Tang Xiaofan was also in a good mood. At this time, Olivia came over. She walked barefoot in the void, wearing a long green dress, with soft long hair scattered around her waist. She was incredibly beautiful. Tang Xiaofan looked at her, their eyes collided, and then they both smiled. Compared with Tang Xiaofan, the girl like Olivia had a slightly shy smile on her face. The next thing was quite simple. The two had dinner together and slept together. Everything was done naturally. The next morning, Tang Xiaofan got up with Olivia's service. After having breakfast together, Olivia did not stay in the kingdom, but tore through the space to meet the kingdom's army. The other angel gods and angel companions of the kingdom also set off to the Karami grassland or the Bulili highlands in the south. A new day, a new war. I believe that compared with yesterday, the attack speed of the kingdom army today will be more rapid, because today, the Black Technology Heaven Kingdom has thousands of demigods and more than 30 true god level upper angels participating in the war. With the help of these complete angels, the kingdom's armies can definitely conquer one force after another. Correspondingly, as the kingdom army continues to expand outward, Tang Xiaofan's kingdom territory will also increase rapidly until the Karami Prairie and Bulili Highlands are fully occupied. At the same time, Tang Xiaofan received a message from the game official. Congratulations, Lord of the Castle. 3 subsidiary cities have appeared in your Black Technology Heaven territory. Please name these 3 sub-cities. At the same time, in Tang Xiaofan's mind, the 3-dimensional images of the 3 subsidiary cities also emerged, and their locations, 2 of which are located in the Karami Prairie, 1 in the north, and 1 in the south, which can form a two-way pincer attack on the Karami Prairie. The 3rd sub-city is located in the Bulili Highlands. After getting Tang Xiaofan's approval, Stark upgraded all 3 sub-cities to the level of advanced main cities, consuming a total of more than 20 million units of wood, more than 10 million units of stone, and more than 7 million units of refined iron. This amount of materials was nothing to Tang Xiaofan. After all, the kingdom's materials he currently stored, totaling nearly 10 billion units of wood, stone, and refined iron. So Tang Xiaofan was not stingy, and asked Stark to upgrade them to advanced main cities as subsidiary cities of the kingdom. Advanced main cities are their highest level, and the next level is the royal capital level, which is not something that a subsidiary city can achieve, because a kingdom can only have one royal capital. Name it? Tang Xiaofan pondered for a moment, and named the 2 sub-cities located in the Karami Prairie as the City of Radiance and the City of Glowing Light, and the sub-cities located in the Bulili Highlands as the City of Holy Light. Naming successful. Congratulations to Tang Xiaofan, the Lord of the Black Technology Kingdom. You now have 3 sub-cities. Your sub-cities also enjoy the effects of all special buildings in the capital. You can migrate your kingdom's people to the sub-cities to expand the deterrence of your sub-cities. At the same time, you need to vigorously expand the population of your kingdom to prepare for the 10,000 Races Tournament. 10,000 Races Tournament. Tang Xiaofan whispered, all the tasks of the castle lords who descended on the god and demon continent are to participate in the 10,000 Races Tournament and compete for the throne of the god king. However, the 10,000 Races Tournament has not been officially opened by the game until now. Tang Xiaofan originally thought that the so-called 10,000 Races Tournament was that the castle forces attacked the local empire in the central area of the god and demon continent and went to war with the imperial forces there. This is a 10,000 Races Tournament. However, when the faith system of the gods descended yesterday and returned to the god and demon continent, Tang Xiaofan had a clearer understanding that the 10,000 races tournament should be a war of gods. This war of gods has not yet started, but once it starts, it will surely cause the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The strength of the castle, local forces, religious gods, and the dimensional demon clan will probably all get involved. By then, the flames of war will burn the entire world, and only the final winner will be qualified to obtain the throne of the God King. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459, The Terrifyingly Powerful Goddess of Luck. If nothing unexpected happens, the real battle for supremacy of all things will be the battle of gods. The war between the Lord of the Castle and the local intelligent forces can only be regarded as a minor fight. The battle for supremacy of all races has not really arrived yet. Once it arrives, the whole world will be plunged into a war, and the suffering of all living beings is just a small matter. The really terrible thing is that even gods will fall in this war. After all, even the dimensional demons from the outside world will participate. The scale of this war is bound to far exceed the battle of gods in ancient times, and more lives will fall because of it. Tang Xiaofan took a deep breath, and his heart became anxious when he thought of the battle of gods that could come at any time. Even if he now has more than 30 true gods and thousands of demigods, he still feels unsafe. He must develop faster, especially Stark must find a way to promote him to the level of the main god before the battle of gods comes. With the protection of the main god, the security of my black technology kingdom will be greatly enhanced, and I'm not afraid of being besieged by the local empire or even the army of dimensional demons. For a moment, Tang Xiaofan thought a lot, and he did not forget the most important thing, which was to breed the angels of the new day and recruit the soldiers of the new day. As usual, he first bred angels. After arriving near the farmer's factory, the information prompt also came in time. The spirit has been converted, and the farmer's factory is full of energy. Do you want to breed the angel Holy Spirit? Yes, no. Tang Xiaofan did not hesitate and gave the answer directly. After tasting the sweetness of breeding adult angels, he no longer considered continuing to breed angel Holy Spirits. After all, the initial level of the angel Holy Spirit is too low, and it needs to kill the enemy to grow up step by step. Adult angels are complete as soon as they are born, and their strength level reaches the peak. Just like the four Austin sisters, they are all middle level gods as soon as they are bred. Especially Austin Tiffany, whose godhood is as high as the peak of the middle level god, several small realms higher than Stark. The 1000 adult angels bred yesterday directly increased the strength of Tang Xiaofan's kingdom by more than 10 times. In comparison, the growth rate of nurturing angels and holy spirits is too slow. In the past, he would definitely choose to nurture angels and holy spirits, because he had few troops and insufficient strength, so he could only nurture angels and holy spirits. But now it is different. He has more than 2 million troops under his command, dozens of true gods, and thousands of demigods. He no longer needs angels and holy spirits to make up the population. Just like the game official said, he has to prepare for the 10,000 races hegemony, and adult angels are the new force for his 10,000 races hegemony. It's a pity that I don't have enough divine power crystals now. Otherwise, I can use the consumption of divine power crystals as a price to forcibly shorten the nurturing time of adult angels. Just like yesterday, it took only more than 7 hours to nurture 1,000 adult angels. Tang Xiaofan took a look and found that his own divine power crystal reserves were only 35, which was too few. Do you want to nurture adult angels? Yes. The message prompt appeared again, just like yesterday, without giving other options. Tang Xiaofan made a choice immediately, and the farmer factory immediately burst into a dazzling light, covering the entire factory. Countless palm-sized angels were flying in the light, and gentle hymns were playing. At this time, a new message appeared in Tang Xiaofan's field of vision. The current gestation time of a complete adult angel is 37 days, 8 hours and 24 minutes. This time is constantly decreasing, which means that after 37 days, the 1000 adult angels bred this time will come. 37 days? This time is much longer than yesterday. Yesterday, the complete gestation time of an adult angel was 23 days and a little over 7 hours, but this time it was directly increased by 14 days. Tang Xiaofan took a deep breath. He did not regret it, but was excited, and could not hide the smile on his face. Because the longer the gestation time, it means that among the 1000 adult angels bred this time, there are either a large number of upper angels or very powerful angels. Only these two reasons will lead to a longer gestation time. Maybe this time we can directly breed a 14-winged angel. A 14-winged angel is a complete upper god. If it is a 16-winged angel, it is the peak of the upper god, the archangel of the god realm. Tang Xiaofan was smiling. It was only 37 days. As long as a 14-winged angel or even a 16-winged archangel of the upper god level could appear, this time was nothing. What's more, he could shorten the breeding time, and didn't really need to wait for 37 days. I have to find a way to get some divine power crystals. As long as there are enough divine power crystals, I can breed these 1000 adult angels directly. Tang Xiaofan thought about it for a while, and a title popped up in his mind, the God of Faith. Now that the God of Faith has returned to the God and Demon continent, a large number of gods of faith have descended. If he wants to get the divine power crystals, he can start from those gods of faith. Tang Xiaofan believes that not every god of faith is as poor as the beast god Bork. There will always be gods of faith who have a large amount of divine power crystals stored in their bodies. As long as such a god of faith is captured and killed, we can fly away in one go. The question is how to find the god of faith and then hunt it down. Tang Xiaofan frowned. With the current strength of his kingdom, it is not difficult to kill a god of faith at the middle level. Even as long as he sends out the Sky City to hunt down the god of faith at the upper level, there is a great probability. The key point is to find the location of the god of faith. If you can't find it, everything is empty. At this time, he suddenly remembered that there is a god of faith in the Black Iron Dwarf castle of Little Lolly, that is the goddess of luck. My kingdom has a teleportation array that can go directly to Little Lolly's castle. Otherwise, I can just suppress the goddess of luck and snatch all the crystals of divine power from her body. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan was immediately moved. But at this moment, Tang Xiaofan suddenly felt a little cold, as if a pair of beautiful big eyes were staring at him in the dark. This is an intuition. But he believes that his intuition will not be wrong. There must be a powerful existence staring at him, and the strength is very terrifying. It makes him feel dangerous instinctively. Could it be the goddess of luck? Tang Xiaofan was just talking to himself, thinking that he was going to the Little Lolita's castle to suppress and rob the goddess of luck. As a result, she was targeted by a terrifying existence the next second, which made him suspect the goddess of luck. Tang Xiaofan thought about it, and then asked the game official, is it the goddess of luck who wants to mess with me? After a long time, he didn't get a response. Normal, the game official is not his butler, how can he obey him in everything? If it is really the goddess of luck, then her strength is too terrifying. She was discovered just by mentioning her priesthood. Tang Xiaofan decisively stopped thinking about robbing the goddess of luck, because he was worried that the robbery would fail, and he might be beaten up by the goddess of luck, which would be too much of a loss. Not long after, the feeling of being targeted by someone disappeared, which made Tang Xiaofan more certain that the goddess of luck was not easy to mess with. She was probably an extremely ancient goddess who possessed terrifying divine power. Chapter 460 A New Day Birth of a Space Dragon. In the following time, Tang Xiaofan summoned the elves, light soldiers and dragon soldiers of the New Day one by one. Among the 3000 elves, more than 40 elemental elves appeared again. Lucky explosion. Among the 2000 light soldiers, there are more than 200 top paladins, cardinals, and holy light Pegasus, and the luck is pretty good. As for the 1000 dragon soldiers, there are all kinds of dragons, including elemental dragons, metal dragons, gem dragons, etc. Without exception, they all have a growth potential limit of 20 level. But at this time, Tang Xiaofan suddenly found that among the newly recruited dragon soldiers, there was a dragon that was different. Its figure appeared translucent, and it was difficult to find its existence in the dragon group if you didn't look carefully. Of course, it was not because his body was translucent, but because he exuded a strong spatial power, which caused him to semi-merge with the surrounding space, creating a translucent phenomenon. Today's luck is really good. Tang Xiaofan grinned and waved at the dragon. Soon the translucent dragon flew over and prostrated in front of him respectfully. Space Dragon. An extremely rare god-level dragon. Tang Xiaofan recognized its identity at a glance. Because he himself mastered the power of space law, he could easily see that the body of this dragon was almost completely condensed by space magic. It is not a pure flesh and blood body, but a spirit like an angel. When Tang Xiaofan checked his information, he directly confirmed his speculation. Space Dragon. Current growth status. Lava. Rank. 7th rank. Loyalty. 100 points. Die Hard. Growth potential limit. Lower level true god space dragon. Special reminder. This is a natural dragon king. Mastering powerful and mysterious space power with the hope of becoming a god. Worthy of the castle lord's key training. Rare god level dragon with the growth potential to be promoted to a true god. Yes, it is indeed worth cultivating. Tang Xiaofan nodded with satisfaction. He planned to wait until this space dragon was promoted to a true god and then give it a few army evolution drawings to increase its growth potential limit to a higher level. In short, a higher level space dragon must have extraordinary combat power. From now on, you will be called Caroline. Tang Xiaofan had just confirmed with his divine sense that this space dragon was a little female dragon. Roar. The space dragon Caroline roared and obediently rubbed Tang Xiaofan's trouser leg with her head. This made Tang Xiaofan think of the red dragon queen Little Flame. Could it be that old dragons like to rub trouser legs? What kind of hobby is this? Tang Xiaofan reached out and patted the head of the space dragon Caroline, saying, "Go, take your people to the Baliri Highlands to meet the dragon army and open up the kingdom's territory for me." Roar. The space dragon Caroline nodded respectfully and then roared at the dragons behind her. The dragons also roared in response and then followed the space dragon Caroline to the teleportation array and teleported to the kingdom's branch city, the Holy Light City, located in the Baliri Highlands. As for the newly bred elf soldiers and the light soldiers, they also use the teleportation array to go to the Shining Light City and the Radiant Light City. They will meet the kingdom army there to attack the local forces on the Karami Prairie. My lord, Stark flew over and said to Tang Xiaofan, "All the magic materials are ready. Since there are not enough divine crystals, we can only use soul stones as a substitute, which will consume about 5 million soul stones." Okay. Tang Xiaofan waved his right hand, and immediately a full 5 million soul stones flew out of his space artifact, the ring of divine green grass, and piled up into a small mountain in front of the two of them. After considering the incident of the beast god Bork attacking the capital, Tang Xiaofan decided to let Stark set up a magic defense shield to cover his entire capital. If a more powerful god attacks, even if Stark and others can suppress it, it will inevitably cause huge casualties to his people in the capital. Therefore, the layout of the magic defense shield is urgent. The magic defense shield arranged by Stark is called the Shield of the Holy Angel, which belongs to the god level defense. The shield has a very strong defense power. Even if a true god at the peak of the middle position attacks, it cannot be penetrated in a short time. For the current black technology heaven, this defensive magic shield is enough for now. When there are a large number of divine power crystals and more rare magic materials in the future, Tang Xiaofan will consider asking Stark to set up a more powerful magic defense shield. After all, Tang Xiaofan's kingdom cannot afford to lose, so facing the huge consumption of 5 million soul stones, he did not change his face. At this time, the world chat channel was also very lively. As expected of Big Brother Tang Xiaofan, another military construction blueprint. From the time I descended to now, I have never had a military construction blueprint exploded, but Tang Xiaofan has already exploded so many of them early in the morning. His luck is simply invincible. Luck. Don't you see how many enemies Big Brother Tang Xiaofan has killed and how many forces he has destroyed? I heard that yesterday, in the Karami Prairie alone, hundreds of castle forces were destroyed by Big Brother Tang Xiaofan's kingdom army. The attack speed is too terrifying. After all, there are millions of troops. Last night, hundreds of castle lords were frightened by Big Brother Tang Xiaofan's kingdom army and evacuated the Karami Prairie overnight. There are also a large number of castle lords fleeing in the Balali Highlands. If it were me, I would also flee. 2 million troops, attacking the Karami Prairie all the way, attacking the Balali Highlands all the way, and there are demigods joining the battle. Which castle force can withstand it? In our castle force camp, Big Brother Tang Xiaofan is already invincible. Fortunately, I'm far away in the Ice and Snow Kingdom, so I don't have to worry about being attacked by the army of the Black Technology Kingdom. Is the Ice and Snow Kingdom far away? I landed directly on an island far away from the land. If it weren't for the company of the fisherman soldier, I would have gone crazy. Don't worry, brother upstairs, you are the future lord of the sea. I randomly landed on an island away from the world. This is really lucky. Brothers, I received a message that another top castle lord has hooked up with the faith god system, and the one who flirted with him is a faith evil god. By causing large-scale killings and madly evolving his castle soldiers, it is said that his own rank will soon be able to become a god, catching up with boss Tang Xiaofan. How is it possible? With the help of the evil god, nothing is impossible. I also know one thing, that is, the spider goddess has descended into the underground world, which has greatly increased the strength of the human-faced spider clan. The return of the faith god system has led to the appearance of more and more faith gods. Those faith gods seem to want to have a good relationship with our castle forces, trying to use our power to deal with the truth god system of the local forces. This is a good thing for our castle lords. Tang Xiaofan's prestige will not last long. Soon, there will be a top castle lord who will surpass him. Where did this lunatic come from? Drag him out. Seeing this, Tang Xiaofan immediately turned off the world chat channel. If nothing unexpected happens, more and more castle lords will hook up with those faith gods and use the power of the gods of faith to speed up the development of their castle forces. By the way, why doesn't any faith god think highly of me? These gods of faith are too short-sighted. Chapter 461, The Lord of the Castle who does not know how to be grateful can only perish. At this moment, on the grassland more than 2,000 kilometers away from the capital of the Kingdom of Black Technology, the kingdom's army is clearing out the forces within 300 kilometers of the surrounding area. The wild monsters on the grassland, the local forces and even the castle forces are all the targets of the kingdom's army. And Bear Grylls and the ancient giant bear legion are also in this army. He is now leading his ancient giant bears to besiege a castle force belonging to the dark evil camp. That is, the castle troops are dark magic bears. The castle lords on the grassland do not all have beastmen in their castle troops. After all, the castle lords' troop buildings are random, so it is not strange to see castle troops such as Undead on the grassland. Bear, the lord of the magic bear castle said angrily, you are at least a recognized man by the castle forces, with extremely high prestige and fame. Why did you join Tang Xiaofan and help him to do evil? Bear was riding on the back of a 20-level ancient giant bear. After a half-second silence, he said, you have read too many novels, right? The lord of the magic bear castle paused and said angrily, anyway, I have no hatred against you, and I have never invaded Tang Xiaofan's black technology heaven. You have no reason to attack my castle. Bear looked at him sideways. In the game of hegemony, there has never been any such thing as peaceful coexistence. My Majesty the King is still very kind. He gives you castle lords a chance to survive. You can now take 1/10 of your troops and leave the Karami Prairie with the help of the teleportation array. As for the other things in your castle, they are the spoils of the black technology heaven. 1/10 of the troops? The lord of the magic bear castle gritted his teeth and said, you let me take the heart of the castle with me. Bear shook his head and said, no way. The lord of the castle said angrily, you destroyed the heart of my castle, so I'm forced to change my job to become a wanderer. What will I do with 1/10 of my soldiers? When they are all dead, I will still be alone. You have no choice, said Bear Grylls. This is your only chance to survive. The lord of the magic bear castle gritted his teeth and said, I surrender and become a vassal force of the Black Technology Kingdom. I will hand over the recruited soldiers and hunting supplies every day. This is something that all the lords of the grassland castles know. The kingdom army of the Black Technology Kingdom has only two ways to deal with them, the castle lords. Either surrender or join the Black Technology Kingdom and become Tang Xiaofan's affiliated force. They need to hand over 1/5 of the recruited soldiers and 1/3 of the harvested supplies to the Black Technology Kingdom every day. For the castle lords, such affiliation conditions are very harsh, but compared to losing the identity of the castle lord, such harsh conditions are nothing at all. However, Yi still shook his head and said, your surrender cannot be accepted because your castle forces belong to the dark and evil camp, which is inconsistent with the camp where the Black Technology Kingdom is located. The Black Technology Kingdom only recruits castle lords belonging to the three camps of light, goodness, and order. Castle lords of other camps do not meet the surrender conditions. In other words, if the castle lord of the Magic Bear Castle wants to survive, he really has only one choice, which is to teleport away with 1/10 of his troops. After hearing what Yi said, the castle lord also knew that he had no choice and angrily walked into the teleportation array with more than a dozen dark magic bears. However, before leaving, he turned his head and looked at Yi with a gloomy expression and said, go back and tell Tang Xiaofan that my name is Yi Xian Heo. Remember this name. I will make him pay the price one day. Looking for death. Yi's expression suddenly turned cold. This castle lord really didn't know how to be grateful. After the defeat, he let him go. Not only did he not feel lucky, but he was full of hatred and vowed to make Tang Xiaofan regret it. This is a potential enemy. Kill. Without hesitation, Yi ordered the ancient giant bears to kill the teleportation array. Too late. The castle lord of the Magic Bear Castle sneered. The dazzling light of the teleportation array had already enveloped him. Before Yi's ancient giant bear rushed to him, he would be teleported away. He stared at Yi hatefully. This guy and Tang Xiaofan would be his lifelong enemies. No matter how much he paid, he would get his place back and take revenge. Although he lost his identity as the castle lord, as long as I don't give up, even if I become a wanderer, I will have a chance to become a god. After becoming a god, I will return with glory. The castle lord of the Magic Bear Castle muttered to himself, waiting to be teleported away. But at this moment, a terrifying force descended from the sky and directly suppressed his castle teleportation array. Under the effect of that terrible force, the magic runes of the teleportation array were shattered layer by layer. In just a moment, its castle teleportation array collapsed and disappeared. How is it possible? The gloomy expression on the face of the Lord of the Demon Bear Castle froze instantly. He looked up at the sky, where a breathtakingly beautiful angel stood. Behind her were 12 angel wings, and she exuded a terrifying aura. The 12-winged angel Angelica was at the peak of demigod. The lord of the castle immediately shouted in horror, you promised to let me go. Angelica glanced at him with a cold expression. Then her figure flashed and disappeared directly into thin air. From beginning to end, she ignored the lord of the castle and left him to Bear Grylls and his ancient giant bear army to deal with. Wouldn't it be better to leave quietly? Yi rode on the ancient giant bear and said, this is a cruel game of all races fighting for supremacy. It's already very good for you to survive after the defeat, but you still harbor hatred and intend to retaliate. The lord of the castle named Yi Xian Heo was so scared that his face turned pale. He said in horror, I was just joking. Then I'll give you a word. Remember not to joke casually in the next life. As soon as Yi finished speaking, thousands of ancient giant bears rushed up and quickly trampled the castle in front of them into ruins, and the lord of the castle was killed with a scream. The 23rd castle force. Yi muttered to himself. This was the number of castles he destroyed today. The kingdom army of the Black Technology Heaven attacked very quickly, and his ancient giant bear army could only keep attacking the castle forces, and could not stop at all. Because if he slowed down, he would be left behind by the army of the Black Technology Heaven, and he would not even be able to drink soup at that time. In this case, he could only fight hard. At this time, he received a war order from Angelica, the commander of the army, ordering him to lead the ancient giant bear army to the south 200 kilometers to join the kingdom army. Bear Grylls ignored the supplies on the battlefield and quickly disappeared at the end of the grassland with thousands of ancient giant bears. Chapter 462. Dwarf War Airship successfully developed. These castle supplies will be collected by the kingdom's logistics corps that followed behind. As for his ancient giant bear corps and other combat corps of the kingdom, they only need to be responsible for the war and attack the enemy forces. When the war harvest is counted at night, as a member of the war, he will also receive a part of the material rewards. Not long after, Bear and his ancient giant bear corps arrived at the assembly point. He found that many corps had been assembled here, with a total size of tens of thousands. Among them were angels, natural elves, forest giants, 100-man musketeers, etc. But there were no steel demons. And there were many corps in other directions, rushing in continuously. What are you going to do? Bear said to himself in some confusion. A forest giant tens of meters tall next to him looked at him and sighed and said to him, Lady Angelica has issued a war assembly order to prepare to besiege the Naga dynasty in front. Naga dynasty? Bear was shocked all over. In the Karami Prairie, there are dozens of dynasty level local forces, and the Naga dynasty is one of them. In addition, he also knew that there was even a mermaid kingdom on this vast grassland. Of course, there were more beastman dynasties on the grassland, such as the Foxman Kingdom, the Swanman Kingdom, the Silver Wolf Kingdom, the Behemoth Dynasty, the Barbarian Dynasty, etc. He immediately flew up to the sky and looked into the distance. He suddenly saw a huge grassland lake 10 miles ahead, with a diameter of at least hundreds of kilometers. It looked like the sea, with no end in sight. In the center of the lake, there was an island in the middle of the lake, with many various buildings on the island. It was faintly visible that a large number of figures gathered on the island and the surrounding lakes. They were Nagas. Nagas, with snake tails, looked very similar to Medusa, but there were also differences. Nagas' hair was normal, and their hair was not like Medusa's snake method. Moreover, Nagas and Medusa were of different races. Medusa was just a simple creature. In the entire god and demon continent, there was only one Medusa, and that was the goddess Medusa who led the belief in the beast god system. It was said that she was mutated from a sea creature. Naga is the name of a race. Before mutation, they were natural elves. Naga, like the dark elves in the underground world, were natural elves before mutation. After mutation, they parted ways with the orthodox natural elves. A long time ago, Naga and Dark Elves were collectively called Night Elves. Later, for some reason, they also parted ways. The Dark Elves went to the underground world, and the Naga stayed on the surface, and became evil water monsters in the eyes of local humans. Finally, we are going to attack the dynasty level forces. Bear Grylls turned his fists, and his heart was slightly excited. As the lord of the top castle among the castle forces, he had never fought against the local dynasty level forces. This was a pity for him. Time passed in a flash, and soon the black technology heaven gathered to armies here, led by the 12-winged angel Angelia and the 12-seat angel Irene. These non-farmers gathered together this time, and Zanyi led other warriors to sweep other areas. The total size of the miscellaneous army exceeded 180,000. There are a large number of demigods, level 21 and 20 soldiers. Lady Angelica, Lady Irene. A 6-winged angel came to report and said respectfully, the sky above the Blue Moon Lake is shrouded in a forbidden magic circle. All magical creatures cannot use magic inside, and the power of their combat skills is greatly weakened. On the contrary, the Nagas of the Naga dynasty are best at long-range attacks and underwater combat. Coupled with the existence of the forbidden magic circle, this is very disadvantageous to our army. I know. Angelica glanced at Irene on the side, and Irene nodded. Leave it to me. Then her figure illusory teleported dozens of kilometers, appeared above the island in the middle of the lake, and below was the Naga dynasty. She raised the holy sword in her hand, and the power of the demigod law was mighty. After the siege and the battle that made Bork thin, the 12-winged angel Irene has also entered the peak of demigod, and is only one step away from being promoted to a true god. The Almighty Lord created angels to maintain the order of the universe. Angels, the Lord's sharp sword, punish all heretics. Heretics who blaspheme the Lord should be punished by the angel's sword. Angel Judgment Companion. Following the voice of the 12-winged angel Irene, behind her, a shadow of an 18-winged angel suddenly appeared. The shadow spread all its wings, also holding the holy sword in both hands, and then suddenly opened its eyes with brilliant light. The holy sword in its hand instantly slashed down to the island in the middle of the lake. This was a sword light that was hundreds of meters long. It directly hit the forbidden magic circle that enveloped the entire Blue Moon Lake. Boom. The forbidden magic circle trembled wildly, bursting with countless streams of light. Finally, after holding on for more than 10 seconds, the forbidden magic circle collapsed. At the same time, a large number of Naga elders on the island in the middle of the lake vomited blood, and the other Nagas were also in chaos. The forbidden magic circle is the strongest defense method of the Naga dynasty. It can not only band magic, but also has a strong defensive power. Now the forbidden magic circle has collapsed, and the Naga dynasty and the island in the middle of the lake are also completely exposed to the sun. Kill. Angelica, the 12-winged angel of wisdom, pointed at the island in the middle of the lake with a scepter in her hand. In an instant, all the assembled legions, nearly 200,000 troops, attacked the Naga dynasty from the sky and the ground. Soon, the blood dyed the beautiful Blue Moon Lake red. The kingdom of black technology, the capital. Tang Xiaofan sat on the throne in the palace hall and met with the dwarf master Andre. In view of Andre's special talents, Tang Xiaofan did not let him and the group of dwarf masters and goblin masters he led participate in the war to attack the Karami Prairie and the Barlily Highlands. Get up, Tang Xiaofan said with a faint smile. Andre, you must have brought me good news. Dwarf Master Andre stood up and said with great respect and excitement, Your Majesty, as you expected, my team and I have built a dwarf war airship. Very good, Tang Xiaofan said with a smile. This is indeed good news. Then he waved his hand and teleported Dwarf Master Andre out of the palace hall and came to the dwarf airship war workshop in the central city of the capital. There were a large number of dwarves and goblins gathered in the workshop. Although they were not strong, the highest was only level 21, and the weakest was even below level 20. But they were all masters in the field of equipment, Your Majesty. Seeing Tang Xiaofan, the dwarves and goblins immediately saluted excitedly. Yes. Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly at them, and then cast his eyes on the dwarf airship floating in the workshop. Chapter 463 Jonah returns to Black Technology Heaven again. Andre on the side introduced, Your Majesty, this airship is about 380 meters long and can carry up to 2,400 people. It is equipped with 18 kinds of magical restrictions such as acceleration, defense, and anti-magic. Its maximum cruising speed can reach 7,000 kilometers per hour. Its defense is so strong that it can resist the attacks of demigods. Even the domain of a 21st level strongman cannot cause any damage to it. Not bad. Tang Xiaofan expressed his appreciation. This level of defense is not weak. The speed is also good, 7,000 kilometers per hour, which is faster than the flying speed of a 21st level strongman. Tang Xiaofan asked, how about its war power? Andre said respectfully, it is equipped with a giant magic cannon, 5 large magic cannons, 18 medium-sized magic cannons, and 75 small magic cannons. Even a demigod will be seriously injured if attacked by him in a hurry. However, his greatest advantage is in the large-scale battlefield. It is enough to cause great deterrence and lethality to the enemy army. Tang Xiaofan nodded. This is the greatest use of war weapons. Small-scale wars do not need such large-scale lethal weapons at all. It is like his Sky City, which has been guarding the clouds above the Black Technology Kingdom, and he rarely uses it. Tang Xiaofan looked at Andre and said, how many war airships like this can be built every day? Andre said respectfully, due to insufficient manpower, even if the materials you provide are very abundant, we can only build 3 such airships every day. Too few. Tang Xiaofan said, give the drawings to the factory over there as soon as possible and study it with the person in charge of the factory over there, the light aircraft factory. Don't work in isolation. What good things can you make with your limited manpower? Go and see other people's factories. They can not only produce transport aircraft, but also battlefield fire suppression aircraft and drones. I heard that Stark has begun to take the lead in rockets. Forget it, you don't understand rockets. You should get the drawings here and hand them over as soon as possible. Also, Tang Xiaofan said, the war of gods is about to come, and demons are returning to the continent of gods and demons. Our enemies are not only the local empires in the central area, but also those gods, demons and various powerful creatures. Your war airship needs to be improved. The sailing speed should be faster, the defense should be stronger, the power should be greater, and it would be best if it could kill gods. Andre said quickly, Your Majesty, don't worry, we will redouble our efforts. Tang Xiaofan nodded and asked, how is the research on the Sky City going? Hearing this, Andre said excitedly, reporting to Your Majesty, I have received help from Lord Stark, and I have already understood the manufacturing principles of the Sky City. You only need to give me 3 months and sufficient manpower and materials, and we will be able to replicate a brand new Sky City. But Tang Xiaofan was puzzled. But what? Andre said, the farmer's divine pattern of the Sky City needs to be engraved by your god. Tang Xiaofan said, this is easy, you just need to build the Sky City, and I will let Stark take care of things like the divine patterns and magic restrictions. Then there will be no problem. Andre immediately promised to complete the task within 3 months. Tang Xiaofan said, 3 months is still a bit long, you need to speed up the progress. Andre gritted his teeth and nodded. Tang Xiaofan pointed to the war airship and said, build 100 such airships first and store them for future use. Andre said respectfully, yes, Your Majesty. Then Tang Xiaofan, accompanied by Andre's dwarf masters and a large number of goblins, visited the war workshop covering an area of dozens of square kilometers. He did not leave the workshop until Stark appeared in front of him. Stark said to Tang Xiaofan, my lord, a caravan appeared outside the capital, claiming to be from the Yuan Chamber of Commerce of the Huayao Empire, and the leader is named Jonah. Jonah? Tang Xiaofan was a little surprised when he heard this. He thought that it would take more than 10 days and half a month for the caravan of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce to reach his kingdom. After all, there was a wilderness no man's land with a diameter of 200,000 kilometers in between. He did not expect Jonah to come so soon. Take them to the small palace in the inner city. Yes, my lord. 10 miles away from the capital of the Kingdom of Black Technology, there is a 200-meter long airship parked. From the style of the airship, it can be clearly seen that it comes from the human world. Behind the airship, the flag of the Huayao Empire is erected, and the logo of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce is painted on the side of the hull. It was with the help of this airship that Jonah's caravan was able to come so quickly. If they rely solely on manpower to travel, it would be very difficult for them to cross the wilderness no man's land with a diameter of 200,000 kilometers. Even if there are no monsters in the no man's land, the long journey is enough to make the caravan drink a pot. In order to complete the transaction with Tang Xiaofan as soon as possible, and to deal with the magical restrictions sealed in her own soul, Jonah applied for an airship from her father, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and came to the Black Technology Castle as quickly as possible. Originally, her caravan sailing route was to enter the forest from the south, after crossing the wilderness no man's land. However, not long after the airship passed through the wilderness, she was stunned. There was no forest. What appeared in her field of vision was only a huge holy white city that was larger than she could imagine. It was at least thousands of kilometers long and wide, and at least half of the forest area was occupied by this huge city. It also occupied a corner of the Karami Prairie and the Balali Highlands. This white giant city is really too huge. Even though Jonah was from the Huayao Empire in the central area, she had to sigh like this. The city of Palenque, a heavy city guarded by the Huayao Empire at the border of the wilderness, was not as big as this city. Looking at its moat, that is thousands of meters wide, and the city wall, that is more than 2,000 meters high, you can directly imagine how magnificent this giant city is. Is this really the Black Technology Castle of Lord Tang Xiaofan? Jonah stood in the command cabin of the airship, looking at the capital of the Black Technology heaven outside the window, and exclaimed in disbelief. When she left the forest, the Black Technology Castle was really just a castle, and the direct territory was only a few dozen kilometers. But what appeared in front of her was a huge city that stretched for thousands of kilometers. The changes were really huge. It was completely beyond her imagination. In her opinion, even gods could not build such a magnificent city in just 10 days. If it weren't for the abundant sacred magic power in the city that she was very familiar with, she would have suspected that she had come to the wrong place. This is simply a divine city, a city where great gods live. The old magician standing behind Jonah was also amazed. In addition to the old magician, the 21st level knight also came. After all, Olivia had planted magic restrictions in the souls of the three of them. Chapter 464. The Central Empire finally caused a disaster. This time, the three of them came together again, hoping to take advantage of the opportunity of the transaction, to ask the Lord of the Black Technology Castle to remove the restrictions on their souls. Their lives were in the hands of others, so the three of them could not sleep at night during the time they left the Black Technology Castle. Everything they ate tasted tasteless, and they were always worried that the magic restrictions in their souls would suddenly break out and kill them. The power of the Lord of the Otherworld Castle is too incredible. In just 10 days, the Lord built such a magnificent city. It's incredible. I even suspect that there are gods living in this city. After hearing the words of the 21st level knight, Jonah and the old magician also shuddered. Gods, even for them as citizens of the Huayao Empire, are the supreme existence. Jonah's father, the president of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce, is only a demigod. It is unknown how long it will take for him to become a god. Maybe he will never become a god in his lifetime. From the speed of development of the Lord, it can be seen that the castle forces are too threatening to the imperial forces in our central area. However, until now, the high-level officials of the empire have never issued a war order to eliminate the castle forces, and even ordered the people of the empire not to approach the sphere of influence of the castle lord. I really don't know what the high-level officials of the empire think. Kyoan sighed secretly. She couldn't understand why the high-level officials of the empire would allow those castle forces to develop safely. If she were a high-level official of the Huayao Empire, she would definitely send a large army to encircle and suppress the castle forces in the surrounding areas to prevent the castle forces from becoming a threat to the territory of the empire. Unfortunately, she could only think about this kind of thing in her heart. After all, she was not a high-level official of the empire, and she didn't know what the bigwigs of the empire were thinking. Are they all chasing the truth every day? At this time, a figure appeared out of thin air in the command cabin of the airship. Kyoana and others were shocked. After seeing that figure, the three of them also widened their eyes and were shocked. The beauty of this figure made them suffocate, and behind her there were 3 pairs of snow white wings and 6 pairs of gorgeous energy wings. It made her look even more beautiful. What a beautiful creature. The 21st level knight didn't know what was wrong with him, and he blurted out his thoughts, saying, even the elves of the natural elf empire are not as beautiful as this. The nobles of the empire must like it very much. Huh. The angel's eyes swept over, and the 21st level knight suddenly felt a terrifying pressure enveloping him. Before he could react, the whole person disappeared. He was not teleported away, but directly annihilated. From the weak body to the soul, it was completely annihilated. Seeing this scene, Jonah and the old magician were so scared that their faces turned green. Jonah said in horror, "Sir, calm down. We are not enemies. We are merchants from the Yuan Chamber of Commerce. We are here to do business with Lord Tang Xiaofan." The angel said expressionlessly, "Bring your goods and follow me. My lord wants to summon you." The angel had scanned Jonah's soul before in the capital, so he knew Jonah and the origins of this relative. "Thank you, sir." Jonah immediately breathed a sigh of relief and expressed regret for the dead 21st level knight. His guard knight has reached the peak of the 21st level, and the next step is the glorious demigod. As a result, he ruined his life because of his mouthful. It's not worth it, but it's what he deserved. It's better to keep that kind of words in your heart. How can you say it directly? The old magician is very smart. After the 21st level knight fell, he immediately lowered his head and dared not look directly at the beautiful creature in front of him. One look killed his companion, the 21st level peak knight, in seconds. What a terrifying strength. He believes that even a demigod can't do it. This beautiful creature is definitely a legendary god. The power of God is great. As for the death of the 21st level knight, he didn't take it to heart at all, nor was he angry at all. Instead, he felt it was normal. After all, how could God be blasphemed? Blaspheming God and being killed was self-inflicted. Soon after, the airship landed near the moat outside the city. Jonah chased the angels back and headed towards the capital. Behind her, in addition to the old magician, there was also a very beautiful woman, Lady Kristen. The old magician whispered, "If there is an accident later, please protect Miss Jonah. We only need a few seconds to escape from this capital." The beautiful woman named Kristen smiled and said, "Aren't you from the Uxiang Chamber of Commerce here to do business with the Black Technology Heaven? Since it's a business, what are you afraid of?" Hearing this, the old magician's face twitched. He was definitely not afraid before coming, because there was only one demigod named Olivia in the Black Technology Castle at the beginning. They were protected by Kristen, a peak demigod, so they were very confident. But now the Black Technology Castle has become the Black Technology Heaven, and even the Supreme God has appeared. How can he not be intimidated? The old magician used his spiritual consciousness to transmit the message and said, "The Lord in front is likely to be a god." Christine glanced at him and said, "Since you know he is a god, you still dare to use spiritual transmission magic? How can a small level 21 trick hide from the perception of the gods?" The old magician. At this time, he looked at Christine in surprise. There was a calm expression on her beautiful face. She was not scared at all when she heard the word god. The old magician was confused. "Lord Christine, don't you worry about your safety?" Christine's appearance was relatively unexpected to them. She joined their caravan halfway. However, now she is sitting on the same boat with them. The old magician felt that if the gods of the Black Technology Heaven wanted to destroy their caravan, Christine, a strong man at the peak of the demigod, would not be able to escape. At least, he thought so. If he were in Christine's position, he would also worry about his own safety. Christine smiled faintly and said, "It's just a legitimate business. What are you afraid of? Not all gods are evil gods. As long as you don't touch the majesty of the gods, you will be fine. Besides, since His Majesty the King invited you to his capital, it is obvious that he has no intention of killing you. He probably wants to do business with you. In this case, what should I worry about? Just don't do anything stupid, otherwise, it will not only harm you, but also me." Master Laoluo was silent and speechless. He felt that there was nothing wrong with what Christine said. What is there for a legitimate businessman to be afraid of? Thinking of this, he felt much more relaxed. Chapter 465. So many gems and treasures need to be exchanged for tens of billions of gold coins. At this moment, he felt a gaze sweeping over him, coming from the beautiful god walking in front, but the god was not looking at him, but at Christine beside him. Soon he discovered again that Lady Christine was very courageous. Under the attention of the god, she did not show fear, but smiled and looked at him. What surprised him even more was that the beautiful god did not get angry and quickly withdrew her gaze. Christine smiled charmingly and said to the old magician, "Am I right? Gods are also divided into good gods and evil gods. Only evil gods will kill innocent people indiscriminately." "You are right." The old magician laughed dryly. Not long after, Jonah and the other two followed the angel to their destination, but the place where the angel took them was not the small palace in the inner city, but a very remote area in the outer city. There were no citizens of the kingdom within 100 miles around. "Wait a moment." The angel led the three people into an oval courtyard and disappeared. Jonah whispered, "I came here on the teleportation array, but I didn't meet many people. It seems that the population of the Black Technology Kingdom is not large. That's because it's quite remote here." Christine leaned back in her chair, her charming figure showing a perfect golden ratio. She smiled and said, "As far as I know, the capital of the Black Technology Kingdom is divided into the outer area, the middle city, the inner city and the core city, with a total population of more than 6 million. We are here in the outer city," she said with a strange expression. "There are only a few vacant buildings within 100 miles around, and there is no one living there. Killing someone will definitely not be discovered." Hearing this, Jonah and the old magician blushed immediately. Jonah said with tears in her eyes, "Lord Christine, don't scare me. I have been planted with a soul restriction. Now even the gods have appeared. I'm just a small businessman with a timid heart." "Soul restriction?" Christine looked at her twice, and then looked lazy again, smiling and said, "Don't worry, I'm here. Praise you, Master Christine. Jonah nodded her head vigorously. She was a level 21 professional, which was not weak, and could be called a strong person. However, after entering the black technology heaven guarded by gods, her level 21 strength was not even as strong as that of a weak ant. She could only place her hopes on Christine. After all, Christine was also a peak demigod, and was only one step away from becoming a true god. She was much stronger than him, and the old magician. After an unknown amount of time, two figures finally walked into the hall of the courtyard. One figure was a middle-aged man in steel armor, and the other figure was Tang Xiaofan. Your Majesty. Seeing Tang Xiaofan, Jonah and the old magician hurriedly saluted respectfully. Jonah said nervously, on behalf of Yuan Lexiang Chamber of Commerce and my father, I would like to greet you and congratulate you on establishing a powerful dynasty-level force, the Kingdom of Black Technology. Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, this is not the first time we meet, so no need to be polite. As he spoke, his eyes turned to the beautiful Christine. This is. Jonah hurriedly introduced, Your Majesty, this is Ms. Christine, a peak demigod level powerhouse and vice president of our Yuan Chamber of Commerce. Really? Tang Xiaofan looked at Christine with a smile. Christine smiled back at him and said, Your Majesty, don't worry. I came to your capital without any ill intentions. Tang Xiaofan said, since there is no ill intention, you are here to congratulate me on the establishment of my kingdom? Christine smiled and said, just one of them. Tang Xiaofan smiled faintly, did you bring a gift? Christine was stunned, and then said with a strange smile, of course I did. As soon as she finished speaking, she waved her right hand, and a large number of crystals flew towards Tang Xiaofan. Stark grabbed the crystal power, and took a closer look. It turned out to be hundreds of crystals of power. Christine smiled and said, Your Majesty, are you satisfied with this gift? Tang Xiaofan said, it's a bit of a loss of your identity. Christine also said calmly, it's not as good as before. I'm very poor now. Jonah and the old magician on the side were confused throughout the whole process. They didn't understand what the two were saying in secret, but they all knew that there was some information hidden in the conversation between the two that they didn't know. Jonah and the old magician looked at each other. Could it be that this Lord Christine, whom they had accidentally invited, had some secret with His Majesty the King of the Black Technology Heaven? And what were those crystals? Magic gems? They didn't look like magic gems, but they must be very valuable. Let's talk about your business later. Tang Xiaofan glanced at Christine and ignored her, and turned his eyes to Jonah and said, did your Chamber of Commerce sell out the batch of gems, gold and silver items that I gave to your Chamber of Commerce last time? Yes, Your Majesty. Jonah nodded. So even if she took out a large number of soul stones, she said to Tang Xiaofan, these are the soul stones obtained after the sale. You can count them. There were about 200,000 to 300,000 soul stones in total. For Tang Xiaofan at the time, this would be a huge fortune, but now this amount of soul stones is not enough for Tang Xiaofan to pay attention to. He waved his hand and put the pile of things into the space artifact god green ring. Tang Xiaofan said to Jonah, I have collected a lot of gems, gold coins, silver coins, gold and silverwares, antique artworks, etc. recently. I wonder if your Yuan Chamber of Commerce can handle it? Speaking of doing business, Jonah's confidence surged immediately. She patted his chest and said, Your Majesty, don't worry. No matter how many goods there are, our Yuan Chamber of Commerce will have a way to sell them and exchange them for a lot of soul stones for you. That's good, Tang Xiaofan said with a smile. I have put the things on the open space outside the courtyard. You can go out and take a look. Yes, sir. Jonah and the old magician looked at each other and then hurriedly left the hall of the courtyard. When they arrived outside the courtyard, the two looked at the mountains of gems, gold and silverwares, antique artworks and other items, and were stunned. I know a lot, but isn't this too much? Jonah and the old magician were stunned. If all these things in front of them were sold, it would be more than hundreds of millions of gold coins. I'm afraid it would be tens of billions of gold coins. For a moment, the eyes of the two people were red. In the main hall of the villa, Tang Xiaofan once again set his eyes on Christine. Christine also looked at him with a smile and said, when the angel was watching me outside the city earlier, I knew that he had seen through my transformation magic. Coming to this remote area, I'm more certain of my guess, but Christine smiled and said, if I want to kill his majesty, wouldn't it be the same wherever I go? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. Borrowing 100,000 divine power crystals and double the value in 1 year. Tang Xiaofan shook his head and said, it's different. If we do it here, we can avoid affecting my people in the capital. Before Christine could speak, she suddenly felt a dangerous breath coming from the clouds, which made her feel a little incredible. You know, she is a powerful god who has the peak position of the upper god. In this castle force, there is something that can threaten her, which makes her have to face it. However, she came here without any hostility. She just came with a curious heart. Christine looked at Tang Xiaofan and said with a smile, my dear king, you don't have to treat me as an enemy. I'm not here to avenge that pig. That pig is the beast god Bork. Tang Xiaofan said, I'm very curious, which god do you believe in? Hearing this, Christine did not hide it. She slowly stood up, and a huge phantom appeared behind her head, with a human body, a snake tail, a charming figure, and a head full of golden snake hair. When the shadow disappeared, Christine regained her lazy smile. She looked charming and beautiful like an angel or an elf. After all, she is a goddess. She looked up at Tang Xiaofan. Her pupils were golden, and she said with a smile, let me introduce myself. I'm the leader of the beast god system, the Medusa goddess Christine. The leader of the beast god system, the Medusa goddess. Hearing Christine's self-introduction, Tang Xiaofan's expression suddenly changed. After a moment of silence, he shook his head and said, I haven't heard of her. Christine's slender eyebrows jumped slightly, but she was not angry. Compared with the ruler of the natural goddess system, the elf goddess Isabel, she is indeed not very famous. Because of her special identity, many local intelligent races do not know that there is a Medusa goddess like her. What's more, the young king in front of him is also a castle lord from another world. It is even more normal for him not to understand the belief system of the ancient times of the active gods and demons in the continent of gods and demons. Medusa goddess Christine sat sideways on the chair. She had a charming figure and a lazy look, exuding an extremely attractive aura. She smiled and said, so now we know each other. Tang Xiaofan's eyes fell on her. This Medusa goddess was indeed breathtakingly beautiful. She had an extreme charm all over her body, even compared to his angels and elves. He was very surprised that not long ago he was still complaining that even some top castle lords had received help from the gods of faith, and their strength had greatly increased. The development speed of the castle forces had also become super rapid. As the strongest castle lord among the castle forces, he had no gods of faith to cooperate with him, which made him feel that those gods of faith were very inconsiderate. Unexpectedly, just as his complaints had just ended, a god of faith really appeared in front of him, and it was the goddess Medusa who ruled the orc system. He was quite surprised to have the title of a high god. Why did I meet goddesses such as the elf goddess Isabel, the goddess of luck, the goddess of moonlight hunting, and the Medusa goddess in front of him, Christine? Could it be that I have a good relationship with goddesses? Tang Xiaofan thought secretly. As for the beast god Bork, who was killed by him yesterday, he selectively filtered it out. That pig was not worth mentioning. Tang Xiaofan put away his thoughts and looked at the charming goddess Medusa and said, since we know each other, let's talk openly. What do you want to do in my black technology heaven? You didn't come to see me specially, did you? Hey, the goddess Medusa, Christine, looked at him in surprise and said, how did you know? I did come to see you specially. Tang Xiaofan was silent. How could he believe such words? He was sure that the goddess Medusa came to his black technology heaven for a purpose unknown to him. In fact, Christine did not lie to him. She really came to see Tang Xiaofan. She wanted to see what was so special about Tang Xiaofan that he could attract the attention of the fairy goddess Isabel and the goddess of fate Anistora. She was even surprised that they left a mark of gods in his capital. She came to see Tang Xiaofan in person. At this time, Tang Xiaofan said, "Since you have come to see me, and now that you have seen it, I will not keep you as a guest in my black technology paradise." Christine was stunned, then said with a strange expression, "Are you chasing me away?" Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, "It's not really a job, I'm just seeing you off. It's hard for me to let down my guard when a superior god belonging to the faith system stays in my kingdom, and I don't know its fundamental purpose." Christine resumed her lazy expression and smiled at Tang Xiaofan. "My king, you worry too much. I came to your kingdom without any hostility. We can be friends." Tang Xiaofan took the opportunity to say, "If we are friends, can I borrow something from you?" Christine asked in confusion, "What do you want to borrow?" "Divine power crystals." Tang Xiaofan said very bluntly, "I will borrow 100,000 divine power crystals from you. 1 year from today, I will return you 200,000. 1 year, and double the return." Christine was extremely surprised. For a god, a short year can be said to pass in the blink of an eye. After 1 year, she could get back 200,000 of the 100,000 divine crystals she lent out. This was a lucrative business for any god, and even she was tempted. Then she seemed to remember something, looked at Tang Xiaofan with a strange face and said, "Your Majesty, you have become so powerful in just 1 month, with dozens of gods under your command. If I give you another year, I'm afraid that even I will not be your opponent. By that time, will I be able to get back the 200,000 divine crystals?" Christine felt that Tang Xiaofan had made a good calculation and wanted to use her power to quickly develop the black technology heaven. With such a terrifying development speed of the black technology heaven, it would become so powerful in a year. By then, as a peak god, she would not have the confidence to suppress the black technology heaven and get the 200,000 divine crystals. For her, this was a risky transaction, and for Tang Xiaofan, it was indeed a business without capital. Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, "I always keep my word. Even if we become enemies, I will hand over all the 200,000 divine crystals to you. At worst, I can just snatch them back. If I pay them back, then I can snatch them again. It can only be considered robbery, not borrowing money. There is an essential difference between the two. If he can get 100,000 divine crystals, he will be confident that he can master the power beyond the upper gods in a very short time, and it will not take a year at all. Even if he returns 200,000 divine crystals in a month, he is willing to write an IOU, because as long as he has a large number of divine crystals, he can continuously breed a large number of adult angels, and the number of gods in the black technology heaven will increase madly. At that time, he will form a group to rob the gods of the faith system. In the end, he can pay it back. What Tang Xiaofan lacks now is time. He tries to use a large number of divine crystals to buy time for him to breed adult angels. So he looked at the beautiful and enchanting Medusa goddess in front of him with great anticipation. In the shadow just now, Christine had a human body and a snake tail, with a head full of golden snake hair. Now she was wearing a purple long skirt, with straight legs, and looked like a human. The two figures combined had a different kind of charm. Chapter 467 The gods you believe in are really poor. Under Tang Xiaofan's attention, the Medusa goddess Christine shook her head and said, "Your Majesty, young king, I really want to agree to you, but I'm sorry, I don't have so many divine crystals." Tang Xiaofan looked at her suspiciously and said, "As a superior god, you don't even have a mere 100,000 divine crystals? The superior god is a powerful existence second only to the main god. His divine power is extremely terrifying. He can easily pick stars and moons and destroy extraterritorial celestial bodies. In front of the superior god, the planets in the universe can only be said to be toys and can be easily blown up. Such a powerful life form can't even take out 100,000 divine crystals." He doubted this. Christine's eyebrows on the opposite side jumped slightly. She felt a sense of being despised, but what else could she do? She was really poor, so since she wanted to hold up the majesty of the superior god, she directly took out 100,000 divine crystals and threw them in Tang Xiaofan's face. But it was obvious that she couldn't do it. Being poor is being poor, she had to admit it. Christine shook her head and said, "Don't say it's me. Even the most ancient goddesses, such as the elf goddess Isabel and the goddess of light Pandora, can't produce so many crystals of divine power now." Tang Xiaofan was surprised. It was not because the goddesses were all poor, but because of the name of the goddess of light. She knew the goddess of light. The ruler of the goddess of light was most likely a main god, but it was the first time Tang Xiaofan heard of her real name. Pandora, this is not a good name. Tang Xiaofan asked in confusion, "How come all of you who believe in gods are so poor?" Stark told him that in the illusory farmer's world, there are trillions of divine power crystals in reserve. In comparison, these goddesses who can't even produce 100,000 divine power crystals are really poor. Hearing this, Christine's beautiful eyebrows jumped again. The repeated mention of the word poor made her doubt that it was a mistake for her to come to the black technology heaven. She suddenly wanted to press the young king to the ground and beat him up. Unfortunately, she hadn't figured out Tang Xiaofan's bottom line yet. In addition, there were the god's imprints of the elf goddess and the goddess of destiny in the black technology heaven, which made her afraid to show violence easily. So she could only try not to look at Tang Xiaofan's contemptuous eyes. Kristen said, "Most of the divine crystals in the hands of the faith god were consumed in the ancient wars of gods. After so many years of consumption, where are the remaining ones?" She was able to take out hundreds of divine crystals for Tang Xiaofan as a gift, which was quite generous. Just like after the beast god Bork was killed by Tang Xiaofan, not a single divine crystal exploded. They are really poor, not fake. Tang Xiaofan was puzzled. "I heard Bork say that you believe in gods and have occupied a large number of plane worlds and life planets in the outer world. The believers don't know themselves. How can you be so?" "That pig is right." Kristen forcibly interrupted Tang Xiaofan's words. She couldn't stand the word poor now. She said, "We have indeed occupied many dimensional worlds and life planets, but the crystals of divine power can only be bred in a vast world like the continent of gods and demons. The world laws of the continent of gods and demons are very powerful, and even the main gods find it difficult to shake them. Therefore, only with such world laws can there be a probability of bred crystals of divine power. In the world outside the domain, worlds like the continent of gods and demons are extremely rare and almost invisible, and even if they do exist, they are occupied by other gods, and cannot be occupied by force." Having said this, Christine suddenly fell silent, her eyes flickering, as if she was lost in memories. After a long time, she sighed and said, "Although the world outside the domain is vast and boundless, it is also cruel. The pantheon led by the god of war Adrian once suffered a heavy blow in the world outside the domain." Tang Xiaofan asked curiously, "Have you met an opponent?" The Medusa goddess Christine nodded and said, 10,000 years ago, the god of war Adrian accidentally discovered a very vast world. He immediately led thousands of gods to attack that world, but was killed by the gods there. Even His Majesty Adrian, the main god of war, was captured alive, and has not been heard from since. The main god of war, everyone was captured alive. Tang Xiaofan took a breath and asked, "What world is so powerful?" Christine shook her head and said, "We don't know much about that world. We only know that it is called the Fairyland, and is ruled by the fairy court. The gods there call themselves fairies, and are immortal like us." The Fairyland and the fairy court? Tang Xiaofan was stunned. Could it be the one he remembered? Tang Xiaofan asked hurriedly, "Where is the Fairyland?" Christine glanced at him and said with a smile, "It's useless to tell you. When the war of gods is over, if you and I are still alive, I can take you to that world." In the following conversation, Tang Xiaofan asked indirectly, but he still couldn't get any other information about the Fairyland from Christine. He had no choice but to give up, but he didn't regret it, because since the Fairyland existed, sooner or later he would be able to find it and see if it was the same as he imagined, and whether he could find the coordinates of the familiar world from there. Tang Xiaofan said, "Knowing that you might fall in the war of gods, why did you come back? Just to fight for the throne of the king of gods? Do you know the throne of the king of gods?" Christine looked at him in surprise. "The throne of the king of gods is the secret of their gods." Tang Xiaofan said, "Not only me, other castle lords also know." Christine's expression suddenly became serious, and it was obvious that there was excitement in her golden eyes. Christine said, even you castle lords from other worlds know the existence of the throne of God. It seems that the throne of God will really come in this era. Tang Xiaofan said, has the throne of God never appeared before? Christine said, in ancient times, the throne of God appeared once, and dimensional demons descended and triggered a war between gods. In the end, no one got the throne of God. Young King, you are right. This time we believe in the return of the gods, and it is still for it. Is it worth it? Tang Xiaofan said, in order to fight for it, countless gods and billions of lives have been sacrificed. Christine smiled and said, gods are immortal. Wouldn't it be boring if they don't find something to do for themselves? Her tone was relaxed, but Tang Xiaofan heard a slight tremor in it. For the gods, they are willing to sacrifice their lives to obtain the throne of the King of Gods, because as long as they obtain the throne of the King of Gods, they can become the Supreme King of Gods, rule over all gods, and master the power of the Supreme God. No god can resist such attraction, even a goddess like Christine. Chapter 468. These treasures can be exchanged for at least 1 billion soul stones. Of course, goddesses are not weak. Looking at all the major pantheons, goddesses seem to be stronger than male gods. Whether it is the goddess of elves, the goddess of light, or the goddess of darkness, they are all famous. Even the goddess Medusa in front of him also rules the belief beast god pantheon, suppressing the gods of the entire beast tribe belief pantheon with her own strength. This shows how powerful these goddesses are. Since coming into contact with the belief pantheon, Tang Xiaofan dared not underestimate those goddesses. Back to the topic. Tang Xiaofan looked at the beautiful goddess Christine and said, how many divine power crystals can you lend me? Christine nodded softly and said, not a single one. To tell you the truth, I'm very poor. I regret that I just pretended to be generous and gave you hundreds of divine power crystals. Tang Xiaofan immediately stood up and said, then look forward to our next meeting. Since he couldn't get the divine power crystals from Medusa, he could only think of a way from Jonah. Jonah is just a mortal. She definitely doesn't have divine power crystals, but she can bring him a large number of soul stones. And he can exchange soul stones for divine crystals through the official game. In addition, he can speed up the attack on the Karami Prairie and the Baliri Highlands, and raise a large number of soul stones through war. In short, he is now very urgent and urgently needs a large number of divine crystals to breed adult angels. If his black technology kingdom has many upper god level 14 winged angels and 16 winged archangels, would Christine dare to run over to see him? And if Stark is promoted to the main god, it would be even better. He can directly let Stark suppress and rob the goddess Medusa to see how many divine crystals are in her small treasury. At this time, Christine looked over and said, Your Majesty, your eyes are very dangerous. She had a feeling that Tang Xiaofan was planning to play against her. Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, you misunderstood. Christine didn't think much about it, and then smiled charmingly and said, I'll tell you an extra piece of news. If you want to get the divine power crystal, you can go to the Dragon Clan's gods of faith. They are not ordinary rich. In the land of gods and demons, the dragons are very rich. In the system of faith, the dragon gods are also very rich. Robbing them will never return empty-handed. Tang Xiaofan was a little moved, but he didn't show it. He said to Christine, I still have things to deal with, so I won't keep you any longer. Hearing this, Christine's head suddenly appeared with black lines. As the goddess Medusa, she actually drove him away 3 times again and again. It was really too much. But in the end she still left. Her purpose of descending to the black technology heaven was not achieved, but it was almost there. She speculated that the reason why the elf goddess Isabel focused on Tang Xiaofan was probably because Tang Xiaofan was the strongest castle among the castle forces. This force is developing at an astonishing speed. In just 1 month, dozens of gods have appeared under its command. If it were her, she would also pay attention to it. In addition, the angels of the black technology heaven are a rare god level race. Only the pure thunder titan can be compared with them. This is also a reason worthy of attention. The elf goddess Isabel obviously wants to use the power of the black technology heaven to help her fight for the throne of the god king in the god war. Christine can be very sure of this. As for why the goddess of fate Anastora wants to pay attention to the black technology heaven, she hasn't figured it out yet. Could it be that the goddess of fate can't hold it anymore and wants to get the throne of the god king? With such doubts, Christine left the black technology heaven, but before leaving, the charming goddess Medusa left a message to tell Tang Xiaofan that she would come again next time, hoping to start a real cooperation with Tang Xiaofan. It seems that this time, because she was too poor, she didn't dare to mention the cooperation. She was going to find a large number of divine power crystals and then come to see Tang Xiaofan after she had the confidence. The goddess is also face saving. Not long after the goddess Medusa, Christine, left, Jonah and the old magician returned to the hall of the courtyard. They were not surprised by Christine's departure. Before, Christine showed calmness after facing the gods of the black technology heaven. They had already guessed that they were fooled by Christine. Christine was not a demigod at all, and it was very likely that she was also a god. The reason why she joined their caravan was just to use the name of their caravan to enter Tang Xiaofan's black technology heaven. She came to the black technology heaven for other purposes. Now Christine's purpose may have been achieved, so she left directly. As for their caravan, in Christine's eyes, they were just tools, and they would be thrown away after use. Jonah and the old magician had no way to deal with this. Who let her be a god? Could it be that with their small human chamber of commerce, they could really recruit Christine, who was a god, to escort their caravan? Let alone their Yuan chamber of commerce. Even the most powerful Bohemia chamber of commerce in the Huayao Empire finds it difficult to hire gods. So Jonah and the old magician are very open-minded, not to mention that their hearts are now completely filled with the gold mountain outside. They have no intention of paying attention to Christine's affairs. Their only idea is to bring the gold mountain back to the Huayao Empire and make a lot of money. Tang Xiaofan looked at Jonah with red cheeks, but smiled and said, "How is it? Have you finished the inventory?" "Your Majesty is very sorry," Jonah said excitedly. "You have taken out too many goods. Even if you give us a few more days, it will be difficult to complete the inventory, not to mention calculating their value." Tang Xiaofan said lightly, "Then estimate how many soul stones those things can be exchanged for." Jonah took a deep breath and said, "If nothing unexpected happens, at least 1 billion soul stones can be exchanged. If it is gold coins, their value will exceed 100 billion. 1 billion soul stones? This is 1,000 divine power crystals." Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly. Compared with the last transaction, the number of gems, gold and silverwares, antique artworks, etc. he brought out this time was hundreds of times more. There were tens of millions of gems alone. After all, it was the entire inventory of multiple dynasty level forces in the forest. And there were also years of reserves from the local forces of all sizes in the forest. It can be said that all the gems, gold and silverwares, and other items in the entire forest are now concentrated in his hands. In addition, the materials collected by the hundreds of castle lords are added together, and the number is naturally very large, and it is normal to be worth hundreds of billions of gold coins. Of course, he is not interested in gold coins. Tang Xiaofan said, "Since there is not enough time, take it back to your Chamber of Commerce headquarters and count it separately. After processing, bring the soul stone to me." Jonah was immediately surprised and said, "Your Majesty, aren't you afraid that we will embezzle your goods?" Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, "I believe you won't do such a thing." Hearing this, Jonah and the old magician beside her were very moved. After all, it was a cargo worth hundreds of billions of gold coins. Even if they sold their Yuan Chamber of Commerce, they couldn't raise so many gold coins. Chapter 469 The fate of all the high-level officials of the Chamber of Commerce can be cut off. They didn't expect Tang Xiaofan to trust them so much, which made them both move and panicked, fearing that they would mess up the matter. They had failed Tang Xiaofan's trust. Jonah said with a serious expression, "Your Majesty, rest assured that our Yuan Chamber of Commerce will definitely sell all these goods and exchange them for a large number of soul stones for you. As for the hostile relationship between the castle forces and their local forces, come on, even the top leaders of their Huayao Empire didn't take it to heart, so why should these merchants worry about it? Earning gold coins is a real thing. When Jonah thought of the piles of goods outside the courtyard, she was excited. Once these goods were sold, their Yuan Chamber of Commerce could also make a lot of money. The most important thing is to increase the influence of the Chamber of Commerce and its popularity in the empire. In general, cooperating with the Black Technology Kingdom has more advantages than disadvantages. Just be careful and don't be discovered by the top leaders of the empire. However, Jonah also believed that the top leaders of the empire should not care about them. They care about the trivial matters of the Chamber of Commerce and the belief system. After a moment of silence, Jonah looked at Tang Xiaofan and said cautiously, "Your Majesty, can you help us remove the magic restriction in our souls?" In addition to business, this is also a question she is very concerned about. The magic restriction planted in her soul and her life in the hands of others made her almost unable to sleep at night. Okay. Tang Xiaofan was quite considerate, and Jonah and the old magician were overjoyed when they heard it. Not long after, Jonah and the old magician found that another extremely beautiful angel appeared in the hall of the courtyard. Behind him were 3 pairs of snow white angel wings and 3 pairs of gorgeous energy light wings, which made her more beautiful. Jonah, who has always been very confident in her appearance, couldn't help but feel ashamed at this time. These beautiful creatures around Tang Xiaofan, each one is more beautiful than her, and they are even more beautiful than elves, which makes her envious. "My lord," the angel of fate Claire saluted Tang Xiaofan respectfully. With the help of the 9 laws of destiny, she has successfully promoted to the level of true god. In addition to her, the 14-winged seraph Catus, the 12-winged angel of wisdom Cheryl, the angel of love Nina, and the angel of death Dale have also been promoted to gods and joined the battlefield in front. These gods do not need to participate in the war in person, they only need to provide security for the various armies of the kingdom. Just now, the angel of fate Claire was also on the battlefield, but was called back by Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan pointed at Jonah and the old magician and said, "There are magic restrictions set by Olivia in their souls. Help them remove the magic restrictions." "Yes." The angel of fate Claire nodded, and then solved the magic restriction problem for Jonah and the old magician. When Olivia set up the soul magic restriction for them, she was only a demigod. Now it is a very simple matter for the angel of fate Claire to remove Olivia's soul magic restriction with the power of the true god. And it will not hurt the souls of Jonah and the old magician. "Praise you, your majesty." Once the magic restriction was removed, Jonah and the old magician felt relaxed and excited. Finally, they were free. At this time, they heard Tang Xiaofan say, "Helping you remove the soul magic restriction is to let you do things for me well and not do things that harm my interests." Without waiting for Jonah to speak, Tang Xiaofan smiled and continued, "My angel is also a true god, and she controls the power of fate. If you don't do your job well, even if you are thousands of miles away, she can use the power of fate to wipe you out." Hearing this, the smiles on Jonah and the old magician's faces froze. Doesn't this mean that they are still controlled by others? In this case, it seems that there is no difference whether to remove the soul magic restriction or not. For a moment, both of them were stunned. The angel of destiny, Claire, said to Tang Xiaofan, "My lord, I found the thread of destiny about her father in this Miss Jonah. Her father is the president of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce, Ron, a strong man at the peak of the demigod level. With the help of the connection of destiny, if Miss Jonah betrays you, I can also cut off the trajectory of her father's destiny and directly wipe out her father and all the high-level people of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce." When she was still a demigod, Claire was confident that she could cut off the trajectory of destiny and directly wipe out the existence of the true gods, although she would also be backfired by the power of the world's laws, which would cause her to fall at the least and be seriously injured at the worst. But it also shows that the power of destiny she controls is very terrifying. Now that she has been promoted to a true god, it can be said that it is easy to remotely wipe out a peak demigod with the power of destiny, and even if there is a backlash, it will not have much impact on her. This is good news. Tang Xiaofan said with a smile. In this way, I'm more assured to hand over this batch of goods to the beautiful Miss Jonah. Jonah's face was pale. Just now, only he and the old magician were manipulated by life and death. Now even his father and the senior executives of the Chamber of Commerce have been dragged into the water by her. Isn't this a losing business? She did not doubt Tang Xiaofan's words. After all, the power of the gods is so strong that he can't imagine it. It seems a bit exaggerated to wipe them out thousands of miles away, but this kind of thing is very likely to happen in the future when it comes to gods. Your Majesty, Jonah looked at Tang Xiaofan with tears in her eyes. Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, Miss Jonah, you don't have to be afraid. As long as we cooperate sincerely, nothing will happen to you and your father. I can assure you of this. Jonah said bitterly, but this transaction has nothing to do with my father. Tang Xiaofan said, it's just a precautionary measure, don't take it to heart. He is not a fool. How could he lightly hand over such a large amount of goods to the Yuan Chamber of Commerce? If there is no precaution, it would be terrible if he was cheated. Due to the soul magic restriction arranged by Olivia, it can only restrict Jonah and the old magician, but it has no restraining power on other people in the Yuan Chamber of Commerce. If the senior executives of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce, or even Jonah's father, choose to directly abandon Jonah and the old magician in order to embezzle his things, then even if Tang Xiaofan kills them, it will be useless. That's why he called the Angel of Fate Claire over. If there is any problem with this batch of goods, he will let the Angel of Fate Claire directly wipe out all the senior executives of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce. This is a deterrent. He believes that, after returning to the Huayao Empire, Jonah will have a good talk with his father. As long as the cooperation is pleasant, both parties can win. How to choose the top management of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce will understand. Chapter 470, Ultra Long Range, Silent, and Evasive Killing Ability. Jonah and the old magician left in a hurry. They used more than a dozen space equipment to load all the piles of gems, gold and silverwares, and other goods away. This batch of goods was enough to make them a lot of money, but they were not happy. They thought that the soul magic restriction was lifted, which was a good thing. As a result, their lives and deaths, including Jonah's father's life, were also in the hands of the gods of the Black Technology Heaven. How could they still be in the mood to celebrate? After saying goodbye to Tang Xiaofan, they used the teleportation array of the Black Technology Heaven to teleport directly to the border city of Palenque, the important city of the Huayao Empire opposite the wilderness no man's land. As for the airship of the Yuan Chamber of Commerce docked outside the city, it also took off at the same time and returned to the Huayao Empire under the control of other caravan members. After returning to the Chamber of Commerce, Jonah immediately went to see his father, Ron, the president. Father, Jonah behaved respectfully in front of her father Ron. Ron also had a calm expression, leaning back on the chair in the office, frowning and saying, "Didn't you go to the Angel Castle in the forest? You're back so soon." "Yes, father. The transaction has been completed," Jonah said respectfully, "and the magic restriction in my soul has also been lifted." Ron said his attitude was still calm. Jonah was used to it. His father was a demigod who had lived for thousands of years and had dozens of children. She was just one of them, and her qualifications were not the best. Naturally, she didn't get too much attention, otherwise she wouldn't have to apply for a report to use a Chamber of Commerce airship. Jonah placed more than a dozen space equipment in front of Ron one by one and said respectfully, "Father, please look, this is the goods I brought back from the Black Technology Heaven." Black Technology Heaven, isn't it the Black Technology Castle? Has the Lord established a dynasty level force? Ron was a little surprised at the development speed of the Black Technology Castle, which was terrifying, and even he was shocked by it, but as a businessman, he was more concerned about the goods. He released his spiritual power and swept through the space equipment in front of him. Every time he swept through one, his breathing became rapid, and finally he even stood up excitedly, and the whole person was excited. So many goods are definitely worth more than 100 billion gold coins. Ron said excitedly, "Jonah, you did a great job. With this batch of goods, our Yuan Chamber of Commerce will be able to shine in the imperial business world." "Thank you for your praise, father," Jonah said, "but this time the Lord still wants the soul stone." Hearing this, Ron's expression inevitably sank. He was struggling in his heart whether he could directly embezzle this batch of goods. Anyway, the trader is the lord of the castle from the castle force and is an enemy of their local forces. Even if he embezzles, he will not be punished by the Empire. The only problem is that this will affect the credibility of their Chamber of Commerce, but as long as it is not spread out, isn't it okay? The more Ron thought about it, the more excited he became. Jonah, who was standing by, saw that her father Ron was silent, and she immediately knew what he was thinking. She knew her father very well. Jonah said, "Father, in the black technology kingdom of that lord, I saw many true god-level beings." Ron looked up at Jonah with a calm expression. He really wanted to eat this batch of goods, so he said, "So what if it's a true god? My Huayao empire also has true gods, and their number is as numerous as the stars in the sky." "Father," Jonah said with her head lowered, "in the black technology kingdom, there is a true god who masters the power of destiny. I'm weak, and don't understand what the power of destiny is, but His Majesty the King said that, even if he is thousands of miles away, he can wipe you out." "Father, what?" Ron jumped up in fright. "Are you sure it's the god who controls the mysterious laws of destiny?" "Yes," Jonah asked. "Father, what is the power of destiny? Is it very strong?" "It's not a question of whether he is strong or not, he is." As he spoke, Ron's face turned pale. As a strong man at the peak of demigod, he had never eaten pork, but had he never seen pigs run? The law of destiny power cannot be said to be the most powerful law, but it can be called the most bizarre law power. As far as he knows, the gods who master the law of destiny power can cut off the thread of destiny and wipe out the enemy billions of miles away. This kind of annihilation is not even a simple kill, but a complete annihilation. Even gods have no way to resurrect the creatures wiped out by the law of destiny power. This is the most terrifying. Ron also knew that in the ancient times of the gods and demons continent, a goddess of destiny appeared. She wiped out countless demons with her powerful divine power. Even the demons were slaughtered by her in large numbers. The power of the goddess of destiny was so strong that the demons were terrified and dared not provoke her easily. There is a god of destiny in the victory of the castle. We can't defend him. Ron looked at the space equipment in front of him with regret. If it was a god who mastered other laws and divine powers, he would not care too much. Because he was in the Huayao Empire, he was not afraid of the gods of the castle coming in to cause trouble for him. If they dared to come in, they would die. However, the gods of fate were different. Such gods could remotely kill him through strange means. Once he provoked the gods of fate, he would die, no matter where he fled. No wonder His Majesty the King would easily hand over so many goods to you and lift the magic restriction on your soul. Ron sighed. It seemed that it was impossible for him to covet this batch of goods. At this moment, he suddenly thought of something and glared. "Wait, what does this have to do with me? Why does he want to wipe me out?" Jonah said respectfully, "Because you are the president of the Chamber of Commerce." Such a reason made Ron unable to refute. Jonah continued, "Father, don't worry. His Majesty the King promised that, as long as we cooperate with him sincerely, the punishment of the god of fate will never fall on you." Hearing this, Ron immediately looked at her deeply, and then said in a deep voice, "This batch of goods is handed over to you. I will let several vice presidents of the Chamber of Commerce do their best to help you. Make sure to satisfy His Majesty the King." Ron took a deep breath and said, "Jonah, my daughter, if this matter is done, you will become the next successor of the Chamber of Commerce. As for Lawrence and others, I will transfer them to other branches." Lawrence and others are Jonah's brothers and sisters. "Thank you, Father," Jonah said respectfully. "If there is nothing else, I will go back first." Ron nodded without saying anything. Jonah didn't care. After putting away the space equipment, she left the office. Ron didn't notice that after Jonah turned around, there was a brilliant smile on her beautiful face. Praise His Majesty. Chapter 471 Your mercy is the honor of those gods. Black Technology Heaven. Tang Xiaofan had just returned to the palace accompanied by Stark, and the official information prompt of the game came. "Congratulations to the lord of the castle. Your kingdom's army destroyed the kingdom heart of the Naga dynasty. You conquered the Naga dynasty. The influence and reputation of your black technology heaven in the Karami Prairie have greatly increased. You have obtained the divine object, the fragment of the dynasty heart +1. You have obtained all the material reserves of the Naga dynasty. A total of more than 38,000 Nagas hope to join your black technology heaven. Do you choose to accept them? Yes, no special reminder 1. Because your kingdom's army destroyed the Naga dynasty, the Naga tribe in the God and Demon continent has greatly increased their hatred for your castle forces. Special reminder 2. Due to the fall of the Naga dynasty, all the dynasty forces in the Karami Prairie have blacklisted your black technology heaven. Special reminder 3. In view of the threat posed by the black technology heaven, the local dynasty forces in the Terami Prairie are preparing to form a dynasty alliance to try to destroy your kingdom. Please be careful, local dynasty alliance. Tang Xiaofan snorted. He has more than 2 million troops under his command, dozens of gods and more than 1,000 demigods. How could he be afraid of a so-called dynasty alliance? Tang Xiaofan didn't take the dynasty alliance that appeared in the special reminder seriously. It wasn't arrogance, but just pure self-confidence. In the past, he would definitely be afraid of it and dare not ignore it. Because Tang Xiaofan learned from the magic map he got from Bear Grylls that there were dozens of dynasty level forces in the entire Karami Prairie, which was much more than the forest at the beginning. And their strength is also very strong. In addition to a large number of level 21 strongmen, there are also a large number of demigod level strongmen. Even if a dynasty has only 2 or 3 demigods, the number of demigods added up by dozens of dynasty level forces must be able to reach about 100 demigods. Thousands of level 21 strongmen. How powerful is such an alliance? With the current castle power, except for Tang Xiaofan, it can be said that no castle lord can compete with it, even those top castle lords. But Tang Xiaofan is different. Today he is different from the past. The number of level 21 troops under his command is so large that it is simply impossible to count, and it can easily sweep across the entire Karami grassland. The alliance formed by dozens of grassland dynasty forces is simply impossible to resist his kingdom army. Even the gods under his command do not need to take action. Just relying on other troops is enough to defeat the grassland dynasty alliance. This is the origin of Tang Xiaofan's self-confidence. Stark accompanied Tang Xiaofan. After learning the news of the Grassland Dynasty Alliance, he said respectfully, "Almighty Lord, we don't have to care about the forces on the Karami grassland, but we should be wary of those who believe in beast gods. If a powerful beast god descends or aids your kingdom's army, it will inevitably cause considerable casualties to your kingdom's army, even if they can be resurrected under your glory." I know. Tang Xiaofan nodded. The only thing he needs to pay attention to now is those who believe in beast gods. The vast majority of the native intelligent beasts on the grassland are their people. Although they have been separated by a long time and countless generations, they are still their bloodline inheritance. Therefore, it is difficult to ensure that when his kingdom's army slaughters the grassland beasts, those who believe in beast gods will refrain from taking action. Tang Xiaofan thought for a moment and said, "Goddess Medusa, Christine, as the ruler of the beast god system, should restrain those who believe in beast gods." He felt that the conversation with Goddess Medusa was quite pleasant. Although he was very straightforward and his words showed contempt for poor women, the beautiful Goddess Medusa should not be angry. Otherwise, she would not claim that she would come to his black technology heaven again in the near future to talk to him about cooperation. Now he and Christine can barely be regarded as friends. Since they are friends, it is highly likely that she will not stab him in the back. Stark said, "My lord, I don't have the slightest trust in Christine." Hearing this, Tang Xiaofan was stunned. Then he smiled and said, "It's normal not to be able to trust her. After all, this is our first meeting. I only have a slight liking for her, and I can't say I trust her. Don't worry about those who believe in the beast god." Tang Xiaofan cast his gaze to the farmer's factory in the distance, which was shrouded in dazzling holy light. He had a hunch that among the 1,000 adult angels bred this time, there would most likely be a 14-winged angel. Once she was born, she would possess the power of a higher god. As long as she was bred, it would be much easier to deal with those who believed in the beast god. The 14-winged angel, in its complete form, is the early stage of the upper god. Coupled with the suppression of the high status, its strength is enough to compete with the middle and even late stage upper god. And if the one that is bred is a 16-winged archangel, who possesses the strength of the peak of the upper god, then even the Medusa goddess Christine will have to bow her head in front of him. Tang Xiaofan smiled and said, I hope that there will be a few people who believe in the beast god, with confused minds, who will descend to the Karami grassland to oppose me, so that we can team up to fight the boss. My lord is wise. Stark didn't know what the boss was, but it was not difficult for him to understand what the lord meant. Killing a demigod, level 21, is not as good as killing the things exposed by the gods. Having said that, I still sympathize with those who believe in the gods, Tang Xiaofan suddenly said. Stark looked at Tang Xiaofan in confusion. My lord? Tang Xiaofan said, they were supposed to descend to the central area of the continent of gods and demons, such as those who believe in the beast god. The beast king's court in the central area is their place of belonging. As a result, because the central area was ruled by the gods of the god of truth, they had to descend to the Karami prairie. This grassland was just a remote area compared to the central area. Under the suppression of the god of truth, they were forced to leave the land and come to the borderland. It must be said that this is very sympathetic. Times have changed. Now is the era of the gods of truth. The era when the gods and demons continent was ruled by the gods of faith has become history. If it were not for the decline of the god of truth, the god of faith would not even be able to enter the gods and demons continent. Unless a large-scale war of gods really breaks out, the ownership of the gods and demons continent will be determined by the war of gods. Merciful Lord. Starkov said, it is an honor for those who believe in gods, to be able to receive your mercy. Hearing this, Tang Xiaofan laughed immediately, and his heart was touched for some reason. In the end, no matter what the outside world is like, his farmers are always consistent with him, and that's enough. Chapter 472. Accepting the Naga tribe causes such a big impact. Tang Xiaofan turned to look at the official information from the game. The information showed that after the Naga dynasty was conquered by his kingdom army, a total of more than 38,000 Nagas chose to join his black technology paradise. The game officials were asking him whether he would accept them. If he refused, the kingdom army far away on the battlefield of the Naga dynasty would kill all the more than 38,000 Nagas without leaving any prisoners. Naga, with a human body and a snake tail, is a mutated elf. It was once called the Night Elf on the continent of gods and demons together with the Dark Elves. Later, I don't know what happened. The Dark Elves entered the dark underground world as a whole. Naga became the evil banshee in the mouths of local humans. After all, she was once an elf, a top-level soldier, and was worth cultivating. Tang Xiaofan thought about it carefully, and chose to accept it. Naga is a mutated natural elf camp. It is no longer good and lawful, but chaotic and neutral. This is nothing. The dragons under Tang Xiaofan are soldiers of the chaotic neutral camp. One more Naga will not cause a camp conflict. On the contrary, if the dark, evil, and undead camps appear in his kingdom, then there will be a camp conflict immediately. The most direct negative impact of the camp conflict is that the special buildings in the kingdom will have a greatly reduced effect, and the holy light and sacred power emitted from the holy light temple, the altar of faith, the monastery of light and other light buildings will also forcibly reduce the combat effectiveness of the dark, evil, and undead camps. If the undead surrender to him, they may even be directly annihilated by the holy light. This is a camp conflict. The chaotic neutral camp is harmless, because the holy light and sacred power will not suppress the combat effectiveness of this type of troops. When Tang Xiaofan confirmed his choice, a message prompt appeared. Congratulations to Tang Xiaofan, the lord of the Black Technology Kingdom. A total of 38,642 Nagas have joined your kingdom, and they are willing to swear allegiance to you until death. The Naga loyalty is full. This is the effect of the King's Scepter, the national artifact. Special reminder 1, because you chose to accept the Nagas, the attitude of the Nagas on the gods and demons continent towards you has changed, and their friendliness has increased significantly. Special reminder 2, countless Naga tribes have learned about the existence of the Black Technology Kingdom, and they are likely to choose to actively join your kingdom. Special reminder 3, the attitude of the Queen of the Natural Elf Empire towards you has changed, and her favorability has increased significantly. Special reminder 4, the Dark Elf clan's friendliness towards you has increased significantly. After accepting the Naga clan, a series of chain reactions were caused for a while. The Natural Elf Empire and the Dark Elf clan all greatly increased their favorability towards his Black Technology Kingdom, and even the other Nagas on the Gods and Demons continent were likely to actively join his kingdom. Such a chain reaction surprised Tang Xiaofan. He did not expect that accepting Naga would have such a big impact. Tang Xiaofan thought about it carefully and guessed the reason. Naga was called evil water monster by the human empire in the central area, which led to them not being accepted by the intelligent races of the god and demon continent, and even being excluded. They are obviously intelligent creatures in chaos and neutrality, but they are listed as evil creatures, and no force is willing to accept them. Now I accept Naga, and make them the citizens of my kingdom, which makes the Naga clan, the Dark Elf clan, and the Natural Elf Empire all have a favorable impression of my kingdom. This is good news for Tang Xiaofan. As for whether there will be Naga who will take the initiative to surrender to him, Tang Xiaofan does not hold out hope. Many of the special buildings in his kingdom can increase the probability of active surrender of local intelligent races, but until now, he has not seen any intelligent creatures come to surrender to him. Tang Xiaofan even suspected that the probability of active surrender was false. If it was the little lolly in the underground world, it would be different. That would be a real active surrender. As far as Tang Xiaofan knows, there are nearly 100,000 grey dwarves and pure-blooded dwarves in Little Lali's Black Iron Dwarf Castle. Except for a small number of them recruited by Little Lali, most of the others are from local dwarves who took the initiative to surrender, which Tang Xiaofan is quite envious of. However, Tang Xiaofan also knows the Goddess of Luck. The Goddess of Luck not only favors Little Lali, but also lives in Little Lali's castle, and becomes her goddess sister. Under the influence of the halo of the Goddess of Luck, coupled with Little Lali's own charm, it is normal for many dwarves to take the initiative to surrender. Not long after, a large amount of supplies were transmitted to the Black Technology Heaven through the teleportation array. These supplies were all from the Naga dynasty's material reserves, and the quantity was so large that it was piled up into mountains. Stark immediately ordered some dwarves and goblins who stayed in the kingdom to count the supplies, to reduce Tang Xiaofan's workload. At the same time, a dazzling crystal was delivered to Tang Xiaofan. This is a fragment of the Kingdom Heart that exploded after the capture of the Naga dynasty. Tang Xiaofan had already integrated all the fragments of the Kingdom Heart that exploded into his Kingdom Heart, greatly improving the cultivation speed of the kingdom's people. The same is true for this fragment of the Kingdom Heart, which was directly integrated into the Kingdom Heart. After integration, Tang Xiaofan can clearly feel that his kingdom has become stronger. Strengthening the Kingdom Heart is not only to simply improve the cultivation speed of the kingdom's people, but also to increase the kingdom's luck, speed up the growth of the kingdom's crops, and so on. The crops here refer not only to food, but also to magic potions, mineral resources, and so on. In short, the benefits of strengthening the Kingdom Heart are great. After all, it improves the overall strength of the entire kingdom, not just individual strength. Therefore, even if there is a top castle lord who buys the fragments of the Kingdom Heart at a sky-high price of 100,000 soul stones in the trading channel, Tang Xiaofan is not interested in selling it. Let alone 100,000 soul stones. Even 1 million soul stones are not enough to make him excited. Stark said to Tang Xiaofan, "My lord, on a distant battlefield, a kingdom army led by the 14-winged seraph Catus discovered a castle blueprint." Catus asked whether to use the blueprint to build a branch city. Yes, Tang Xiaofan nodded and said, "From now on, all the castle blueprints discovered by the army will be used directly and named by ourselves. According to the established war plan, we will use the branch city as a base and continue to advance outward." "Yes, my almighty lord," I will reply immediately. Stark saluted respectfully, turned around and left to arrange related matters. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473, The Grassland Alliance has a backup plan. In the World Chat channel, countless castle lords and wanderers gathered here. It was very lively, and many people were discussing the fall of the Naga dynasty. Although there was no world announcement, regional bulletins were still indispensable. At the same time, when the Naga dynasty was captured, the castle lords on the Karami grassland immediately received regional announcements and learned the news. The Black Technology Kingdom is really strong. A million-strong army swept across the entire Karami prairie. The offensive was unstoppable. Not to mention the lord of the castle. Even the local dynasties on the grassland could not resist. It is said that the Naga dynasty is among the top 5 dynasties in the Karami prairie. It is useless to rank first in the face of the kingdom army of boss Tang Xiaofan. The local dynasty forces that are difficult for us to shake are just a resource point in front of boss Tang Xiaofan. Comparing people really makes people jealous. I can only say that the Black Technology Kingdom is invincible. I received news that members of the Prairie Paradise Alliance have returned to the Karami Prairie, and compared to before, their number of members has become more than a few hundred people. What's the matter? Do they feel that they are enough? Let me tell you, the buddy above knew that everyone was anxious, but he deliberately kept people in suspense. You tell me. I also received news. The dynasty forces on the Karami Prairie are forming a dynasty alliance, trying to gather the most powerful force to fight a decisive battle with the kingdom army of boss Tang Xiaofan on the grassland. The castle lords of the Prairie Paradise Alliance have also joined forces with those local dynasties. So that's how it is. Dozens of local dynasties, plus hundreds of castle lords. This power is absolutely terrifying. The number of demigods, level 21, and level 20 is terrifying. Grassland Paradise Alliance, it's about to take off. What take off? I think it's going to crash again. In the Black Technology Kingdom, there are god-level angels, and boss Tang Xiaofan himself is a god. Even the beast god Bork is dead. A group of demigods and an army of level 21 still want to compete with the Black Technology Kingdom. It's obvious that they want to give away heads and experience again, plus resources. This is very annoying. The strength of the Black Technology Kingdom is obviously invincible, and those guys are still giving away. Do they want to directly turn the Black Technology Kingdom into the Black Technology Empire? The reason why Tang Xiaofan is so powerful is that he was sent out by some people. I, a low-level castle lord, want to beat them up. The brothers upstairs are full of resentment. Indeed, after learning this news, many castle lords were full of resentment, including some top castle lords. In their opinion, if there were no certain castle lords, such as the initial Anti-Demon Alliance, the subsequent Alliance of Gods, the God-Killing Alliance, and the God-Slaughtering Alliance, Tang Xiaofan would not have become as powerful as he is now. Even if Tang Xiaofan can build a royal capital, it is impossible to be a high-level royal capital directly. Most of the massive resources that Tang Xiaofan used to upgrade the castle were sent by those castle lords. Now the local dynasty forces of the Karami Prairie have formed an alliance, and the Grassland Paradise Alliance, which has already evacuated, has returned and wants to continue to send heads. This makes them feel very painful. Some top castle lords couldn't help but send messages in the world chat channel. Directly our Grassland Paradise Alliance, can you guys stop sending heads? Then the world chat channel was full of similar messages. Countless castle lords and wanderers called on the members of the Prairie Paradise Alliance not to think that they were enough, because that was all illusion. The best thing to do was to leave the Karami Prairie as soon as possible. At this moment, the internal information group of the Prairie Paradise Alliance had indeed increased a lot compared to before, and its alliance members had exceeded several hundred people. Some of the added ones are castle lords of the Karami Prairie, some are castle lords from other areas, and some are even from the underground world. It is obvious that they have a big plan. At this time, a new senior executive of the Prairie Paradise Alliance spoke up. Don't pay attention to the information on the world chat channel. Why do we come back? That's because we have the confidence and certainty of winning. This time Tang Xiaofan must die, and the Black Technology Kingdom must be destroyed. People in the outside world don't know that we are the ones who facilitated the formation of the alliance of those dynasty forces on the grassland. The Black Technology Kingdom has gods, and we also have gods, and not just one, but gods from multiple camps. This war of gods will be detonated by our alliance. What are gods? Gods are just tools in the hands of our castle lords, tools to destroy the Black Technology Kingdom. Brothers, cheer up. This time the victory no longer belongs to the Black Technology Kingdom, but to our prairie paradise. In an instant, the entire prairie paradise alliance boiled up, and they felt that they could do it. As time went by, the army led by Zhang Yi, after destroying the Naga dynasty, continued to advance towards the center of the Karami Prairie. At the same time, Zhang Yi also added 10,000 Nagas to form a legion to join the army he led, which also made the combat effectiveness of the army he led even stronger. Since then, the 12 armies of the kingdom on the Karami Prairie have been constantly clearing out wild monsters, local forces and castle forces in the front area. In addition, in the Barilli Highlands, there are millions of troops of the Dragon Legion and the Light Legion, which are also unstoppable. Wherever they pass, all forces are conquered. It can be said that Tang Xiaofan's kingdom army in these two areas has been advancing rapidly and basically encountered no decent resistance. Even the dynasty forces have to bow their heads, either completely obey orders or surrender. There is no other choice. Soon it was evening. In just one day, the Black Technology Kingdom's more than 2 million troops, a total of 22 legions, captured thousands of castle forces, destroyed thousands of local forces, and killed more than 1 million wild monsters. They harvested countless resources, countless equipment, and countless blueprints. And with the help of the exposed castle blueprints, Tang Xiaofan's kingdom army also built several city bases in the Karami Prairie and the Barilli Highlands, and all of them were upgraded to the advanced main city level, named the Everlight City, the Aurora City, the Moonlight City, the Ice Flame City, the God's Blessing City, and the Light City. In addition to the previously built Glowing City, the Shining City, and the Holy Light City, Tang Xiaofan's kingdom forces have a total of 9 sub-cities. Each of these sub-cities is located in the key areas of the Karami Prairie and the Barilli Highlands, which can be used for attack and defense. Moreover, a large number of defensive buildings and space teleportation magic arrays have been built in each sub-city, all of which have become the military strongholds of the Black Technology Kingdom. With the help of the teleportation array, if any of the 9 cities was attacked, the armies of the Black Technology Kingdom could be teleported there in a very short time. Therefore, Tang Xiaofan was not worried at all that his sub-cities would be attacked by enemy forces, not to mention the forces of the Karami Prairie and the Barilli Highlands, who had been killed by his kingdom's army, and were constantly retreating. How could they dare to launch a counter-attack to attack his sub-cities? For these two areas, Tang Xiaofan's 9 sub-cities were 9 nails. Chapter 474 The Goddess of Luck is strong enough. At night, there are armies stationed. During the day, the army goes out to clean up the surrounding areas and keep advancing towards the core areas of the Karami Prairie and the Barilli Highlands. And as the castle blueprints continue to burst out, the number of branch cities under Tang Xiaofan will increase. It is not difficult to occupy these two areas. The only problem facing Tang Xiaofan now is the population of the kingdom. After yesterday and today's war, the population of Tang Xiaofan's kingdom has reached nearly 9 million, and the extra ones are all surrendered native intelligent creatures. But even with a population of nearly 9 million, it is still too small for the current Black Technology Kingdom. Just make a branch city at the level of a high-level main city, plus a high-level royal capital with a diameter of 5,000 kilometers, let alone 9 million people. Even 90 million people is not too much. Lack of population is a big problem. Those intelligent creatures of the local forces shout to pursue the truth, and refuse to believe. If you insist on conquering their power camp, and destroying their power heart, they will know the pain and lower their heads to surrender. If there is no need to kill them, and they surrender directly. My kingdom's population has exceeded 10 million now. Tang Xiaofan rubbed his head. The population of the kingdom is very important to him, because he is the god of faith. The more people in the kingdom, the more power of faith he can get, and he can also condense more divine power. Another point is that the more people in the kingdom, the stronger he is, because he can use his natal artifact, the King's Scepter, to extract 1/10 of the power of the people in the kingdom to help him fight. To exaggerate, if his kingdom's people are endless, then his own power is also endless, which is very terrifying. So even if the local intelligent creatures that have been surrendered are very low in strength, such as goblins, two-headed demons, goblins, great dwarves, etc., and do not have higher training value, he does not care. If the quality cannot keep up, as long as the quantity keeps up, it will be fine. If even the quantity cannot keep up, it will be enough for Tang Xiaofan to have a headache. Stark, who was waiting on the side, could see what Tang Xiaofan was thinking. He wanted to say something, but couldn't say it. Even though he was once a peak level main god, and was only one step away from ascending to the throne of the God King, he couldn't make the kingdom population for Tang Xiaofan out of thin air. After a moment of silence, Stark suddenly said, if the farmer god realm can be materialized in the real universe, the Lord will be able to have hundreds of millions of farmers, and it will be no problem to sweep across thousands of plains. The farmer god realm is materialized? Hearing Stark's words, Tang Xiaofan was stunned. In his opinion, the farmer god realm is an illusory world that does not exist in reality. How can this be materialized? Yes, Lord. Stark said with certainty, when you restore the divine power of the heyday and control the power of creation, Stark believes, at that time, you will definitely be able to materialize the farmer god realm. Tang Xiaofan was stunned that he could actually do this. But if you look carefully, if he really has mastered the power of creation, then it seems that it is not impossible for him to materialize the illusory farmer god realm. After all, even the world can be created, but the farmer god realm that exists in the illusory world, what difficulty is there? Of course, this is all in the future. Now he is just a small lower god in the early stage. Let alone materializing the farmer god realm, he doesn't even know what the farmer god realm looks like. The problem of the kingdom's population is temporarily put aside. Tang Xiaofan believes that, after conquering the Karami Prairie and the entire Balali Highlands, his kingdom's population will definitely reach tens of millions. After conquering the Death Swamp, his kingdom's population will be even greater by then. Recruiting is too slow, and natural reproduction is not possible. Relying on war to increase the population of the kingdom is a way, but recruiting farmers is also a way, but these farmers' steel armor is not made in time, and they may not be able to go into battle directly. Tang Xiaofan didn't think about it anymore. The population problem can always be solved slowly. After all, even if he has become a god, there is no way to change the population directly. The most urgent task is to find a way to breed this adult angel as soon as possible. While thinking, Tang Xiaofan came to the vicinity of the farmer's factory. At this moment, the farmer's factory with a diameter of 1 kilometer is still shrouded in a thick white light. You can see that there are countless palm-sized angels flying in the white light, which means that the breeding process is still continuing. If Tang Xiaofan does not provide enough divine crystals for the farmer's factory, then this breeding process will continue until 1 month later, when 1,000 adult angels will come, and there are about 37 days left. I can't wait. Tang Xiaofan didn't have the patience to wait so long that he didn't hesitate, and immediately took out all the divine crystals and threw them all into the farmer's factory. In an instant, the farmer's factory shone brightly, and the appointment time prompt instantly changed from about 37 days to 24 days and 20 hours, and the breeding time was reduced by 12 days, and he also consumed all the reserves of divine crystals. Among them, there are not only the 55 remaining divine crystals, but also 100 of them are gifts from the Medusa goddess Christine. The time for the divine crystals to run out has been reduced to about 25 days, but it is still a bit long. Tang Xiaofan frowned. One divine crystal can shorten the gestation time by 2 hours, which means that it still needs 300 divine crystals to breed these 1,000 adult angels immediately. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan took another look at his own soulstone reserves. More than 23 million soulstones, no divine crystals. These soulstones are all the war gains in the past 2 days. Even if all of them are used to exchange with the game official, they can only be exchanged for 70 divine crystals, which is more than 200. Tang Xiaofan is a little troubled. The soulstones he has stored are definitely a huge amount of supplies for other castle lords, enough to upgrade their arms and buildings to a higher level. Even those top castle lords will be particularly jealous, but for him, it is not much, and even makes Tang Xiaofan feel very poor. After all of them are consumed, only 70 divine crystals can be exchanged. Can this be considered rich? Just when Tang Xiaofan was having a headache about how to get divine crystals, a petite figure suddenly appeared in the teleportation array not far away. It was the little Lalita in the underground world. When she saw Tang Xiaofan, she squinted her big eyes happily, like a beautiful crescent moon. Big brother. Hearing the little Lalita's crisp voice, Tang Xiaofan also smiled, and all his worries were gone. He smiled and said, "Why did you come so late today? I didn't see you at noon." The little Lalita jumped over, hugged Tang Xiaofan's arm and smiled. The girl's sister said that there were guests at Big Brother's house, so she asked Kella to come later. Guest? Tang Xiaofan was stunned, and then quickly understood. The goddess of luck was really terrifying. Although she was far away in the underground world, she knew everything about his kingdom, and even knew that the Medusa goddess Christine came to his kingdom as a guest. Chapter 475. Your Majesty, I have been waiting for you for a long time. The little girl raised her head and asked, has the guest gone back? Tang Xiaofan nodded and said, he has left. After a pause, he asked the little girl, did your goddess sister say anything else, such as about me and my black technology heaven? The little girl thought about it, then shook her head and said, it seems not. The goddess sister just said that there are guests at your house, but she didn't say anything else. Then forget it. Tang Xiaofan didn't ask any more questions. By the way, big brother, the little girl suddenly stretched out her little hand and handed Tang Xiaofan a space ring, saying, this is for you. It contains the supplies obtained from selling equipment during this period of time, and some of it comes from the Dark Elf sister. Tang Xiaofan took the space ring and glanced at it. The supplies were not small, adding up to several million units. But for Tang Xiaofan, these supplies are nothing. Tang Xiaofan casually returned the space ring to the little Lalita and said, take these supplies and use them to upgrade your castle in the future. I don't need them now. The little Lalita asked in confusion, doesn't your kingdom need to be upgraded? Tang Xiaofan shook his head and said, my kingdom is already at the advanced royal capital level. If it goes up further, it will be the imperial capital. It requires 20 billion units of supplies. There is no way to upgrade it in a short period of time, so you keep these supplies. Okay, the little Lalita thought about it and put the space ring into her small bag. She felt that her castle was already big enough and did not need to be upgraded. As for these supplies, she can save them. If Tang Xiaofan wants them in the future, she can take them back. Anyway, her things belong to Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan pinched the little girl's delicate face and said with a smile, you just said that the dark elf is Kirilla from the Blood Moon country? Yeah. The little girl nodded and said, the dark elf sister said that not long ago, the Blood Moon country and the human-faced spider launched a large-scale war, and even the demigods participated. Because of the war, she came late. By the way, the dark elf sister is still in Kenna's castle. Do you want to go see her? Hearing this, Tang Xiaofan was ready to refuse immediately because he was afraid of the goddess of luck, whose strength was far more terrifying than he imagined. He was worried that if the goddess of luck was hostile to him after he went to the Dark Iron Dwarf castle, he would not be able to come back. But then he changed his mind, and it seemed that he could condense the incarnation of divine power and go to the Dark Iron Dwarf castle. When he met the Medusa goddess Christine before, Stark reminded him that it was the incarnation of divine power. The real body is hidden in the Sky City in the clouds. Even if Christine came with malice, he would be fine. He could even use the strongest attack of the Sky City to severely injure Christine. This time he could also use the divine power incarnation. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan said to the little lolly, it just so happens that I have something to do with the dark elf Karara. I can go to your castle to see her. Yeah, the little lolly nodded happily, and then Tang Xiaofan condensed an incarnation with divine power and followed the little lolly into the teleportation array. Stark guarded him with his true body. Tang Xiaofan was not worried about Stark's safety. Although Stark was in the Holy Spirit stage and his realm was at the level of the Middle God, he had a Master God level superb life artifact. Even if the Master God wanted to kill him, it would not be easy. In other words, Stark has now been promoted to the peak of the Middle God. The reason why the godhood skyrocketed was because he refined and absorbed hundreds of thousands of drops of divine power from the godhead of the beast god Bork, and also included the divine power in the fragment of the godhead. With the help of the godhead and its fragments, his strength improved by leaps and bounds, and he was only one step away from being promoted to a higher god. The world turned, and with the help of the teleportation array, Tang Xiaofan and the other two instantly appeared in the Dark Iron Dwarf castle in the underground world. As soon as he landed, Stark's face sank slightly and he said, "This is a world full of dark evil and the breath of the undead." Tang Xiaofan said, "It's normal. The underground world itself is a paradise for dark creatures." Stark whispered, "My lord, this world still has a faint breath of demons." Tang Xiaofan was surprised. "Demons?" Stark nodded. "The breath of demons invades the underground world, causing the creatures in the underground world to easily become confused and bloodthirsty." Tang Xiaofan speculated, "It may be a sequel left over from the ancient war of gods." As he was speaking, the old dwarf Moore came up and said to Tang Xiaofan with respect, "Your Majesty, welcome to the Black Iron Dwarf Castle." As soon as the voice fell, the old dwarf Moore felt the divine power of Tang Xiaofan again, and suddenly became extremely shocked. "It's only been a few days since I last saw him. Has the lord of the legendary castle become a god?" "You know, he was just promoted to a demigod with the help of the goddess of luck." The promotion speed of Lord Tang Xiaofan is too terrifying. Tang Xiaofan looked at the dull-looking old dwarf Mer and said with a smile, "Saint Mer has also been promoted to a demigod. Congratulations. By the way, my kingdom's army is attacking the Karami Prairie and the Baliri Highlands. The war has come. Saint Mer can participate if he is interested." "Praise you, Your Majesty." The old dwarf Mer was immediately delighted. He had been waiting for Tang Xiaofan's call for war for a long time. He didn't know why there were basically no dark and evil creatures invading the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. Even if there were only small groups, and the number was not worth mentioning. This also made it impossible for him to quickly improve his strength by killing the enemy. He had been looking forward to being summoned by Tang Xiaofan. Although he belonged to the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle, he knew the relationship between Princess Kea and Lord Tang Xiaofan, so he was very happy to serve Tang Xiaofan. Under the leadership of the old dwarf Mer, Tang Xiaofan came to the dwarf palace not far from the castle. There was a round table in the palace hall. A beautiful figure was sitting beside the round table, and another figure was standing. The standing figure was the dark elf Karara, who had not been seen for a long time. Tang Xiaofan recognized the beautiful figure as the goddess of luck at a glance. The reason was simple. She exuded the divine power that only gods possessed. The only pity was that the goddess of luck was wearing a veil. Even with Tang Xiaofan's strength, he could not see through the veil to see what the goddess of luck looked like. "Lord." Seeing Tang Xiaofan, the dark elf Karara seemed to be relieved, and a smile appeared on her delicate cheeks. Tang Xiaofan saw that he was a little breathless due to the divine power naturally emanating from the goddess of luck, and he was also panic-stricken in his heart. As soon as he came to the dark elf Karara, he felt relieved and relaxed. "Miss Karara." Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly at her, and then cast his eyes on the goddess of luck sitting at the round table. Although he couldn't see her face clearly, just looking at her figure, he couldn't help but describe her as perfect. Of course, this is not the point. At this time, the goddess of luck also looked at Tang Xiaofan. Strangely, her pupils were silver, and there seemed to be countless stars flowing in them, which was very beautiful. The goddess of luck looked at Tang Xiaofan. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and her beautiful face under the veil seemed to have a smile, and said, "Your Majesty, I have been waiting for you for a long time." As soon as these words came out, Tang Xiaofan was immediately surprised. Waiting for him for a long time. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.